but my personal Twitter at Sean_Brace.
All
right. Rock and roll. Commish, take it away.
Welcome to the Fox Sports The Gambler Fantasy Football Draft 2024. Last year, Roy Burton won, and somehow he got the first pick again. So we're going to get it started, and we'll kind of intro people, I guess, as they come up here in the first round. So Roy, the defending, reigning, conquering champion, gets
That was intense. I loved it.
Let's save everybody from suspense. We're just gonna rock it. Let's do it.
C-Mac.
No need to play around.
And by the way, you can follow Roy at the BS line on
the
Twitter.
BS line. Yes.
For all your fantasy football and everything needs, but he kills it when it comes to fantasy football. Starts, sits on Sunday. What's the other Twitter as well, Roy?
At GT Decision. You can also follow me. GameTimeDecision.net. We have all the fantasy and DFS news delivered directly to your inbox multiple times a week. So check out my Substack and get your fantasy information at GameTimeDecision.net.
Do it now.
And Roy, I'll ask you here for the second pick since we don't have Joe Castro in the stream yet. He takes Tyreek Hill. So you go McCaffrey first. He goes Hill 2. What do you think about Hill going second?
I like Tyreek Hill. Tyreek Hill's, he's a guy who's going to get you, a ton of catches, a ton of yards. I like heavy target guys. But, most importantly, super productive guys. Sean Brace not a fan of the Tyreek Hill pick. I'm curious to see what Brace would say at Tyreek Hill at number 2.
Yeah, I'm not a Tyreek guy. Strictly, I pick like 1 to 2 players that I will definitely try and move hell on earth to get, and then I'll pick 1 or 2 players, and I'm like, you know what? I'm good on that. Tyreek, I think, is too damn crazy for his own good and is going to try and race a streamer like sketch on like a bye week, and he's going to get hurt, and he's just going to do something dumb, all right? That's all I'm saying. I'm skipping Tyreek Hill. If he goes for 2,300 again and breaks records, I'll look like an idiot to a point. I'm pretty confident in the other players that I would suggest here, but he is a badass. I'm rolling the dice against him, man. I think he's going to screw up this year.
Fastest man in the world.
With the third pick, Tim O'Keefe at TKO_picks on Twitter. Tim O'Keefe is here in the room with us. He went Breece Hall with the third pick. Are you happy with Breece there?
Mark, I'm ecstatic. Again, I'm a big believer in there's only like 3 or 4 bell cow backs, right? That are going to be out there all 3 downs. I am bought in on the Jets. I think Rodgers comes back out there. I think he is going to get so many receptions out of that backfield from Rodgers. I was ecstatic. That's why when I tweeted earlier, I wanted the top 3 pick. I knew I was ending up with, I wasn't going to get McCaffrey. I knew that, but either Bijan or Breece. I'm ecstatic with Breece. I have my hero RB. I'm good to go.
Yeah. There you go. That is a strategy. We kind of talk about the hero RB, zero RB strategies. What was that, Roy?
Big Breece Hall fan right here. My hand in the air. Big Breece Hall fan this year.
And then with the 4th pick, we had Luke Arcaney, who's not joining us right now. I think he might later, but he took CeeDee Lamb. That's actually who I would take second. CeeDee Lamb, especially now with all the holdout stuff done. Dallas just has no mouths to feed in that offense besides him. I mean, they have Zeke. He can eat a lot, but I don't know about yards on the football field at this point. So, and they're bringing in Dalvin Cook, but I think CeeDee Lamb's just really the only weapon in that offense, and that's why he's going to get the lion's share of the targets, and that's why I think he is an argument to go number 1 overall. But number 5, Jeremy, my producer on the Tough Cover Radio Show, went with Bijan Robinson. I think that's a pretty good pick, pretty high.
Can I ask a question? Commish, can I ask a question?
Yeah.
What does no one concerned about like these receivers rolling in day 1 and like popping a hammy? Like, no, there's football shape. These boys ain't in football shape yet, right? Like, you can tell me that these guys been working out and grinding. Bullshit. They've been chilling. You know what I mean? Let's be honest. Come on, man. Like,
I don't think
who has played though.
That's true, but I don't think you get to the level of a CeeDee Lamb. I don't think you get to the level of a CeeDee Lamb without being a psycho, like about your health and your body and everything like that. I feel like he's probably pretty in shape. I would worry about it more with running backs. I feel like, weirdly enough,
I would agree. Yeah. Yeah, well, we've seen running backs kind of hold out in the past. We've seen them kind of take a while to kind of get ramped up. Wide receivers are pretty psychotic when it comes to staying in shape. So I think those guys will be fine.
CD
And
Lamb
then-
in that deal, man, 100 million guaranteed, snatching the bag like it's his phone back off his girlfriend on draft night.
That's a classic.
Damn.
That's a classic. Slash with the number 6 pick, going with Amon-Ra St. Brown, which I think is a genius pick. Similar to CD
bit.
Lamb, I think he's just such a target vacuum in that offense, and I don't really see anything changing with that offense. You got the same QB, same offensive coordinator. They didn't really add another high level target. I mean, maybe if you buy into a Jameson Williams breakout, but I think Amon-Ra is going to have the same year he had last year, if not better.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I popped on the board for the 7 pick there, and I will say I like all 6 significantly better than what I ended up with there. That all 6 of those guys were certainly higher on my list, but I did ultimately settle in to take the Jamar Chase pick there, a guy that's dealing with similar contract stuff, but I just feel better than Justin Jefferson with the quarterback issues. Jonathan Taylor, who knows what he's got left in the tank, and wasn't super impressed. So Jamar Chase, the call for me there. Hopefully I feel a little better about my second round pick.
And
I'll
here's the
chime in
thing.
'cause-
Go ahead. I'm sorry.
I'll chime in because I'm coming in at number 10 soon. I want to get everybody's value since this is a local angle too. Who's the better fantasy football value this year, Saquon Barkley or AJ Brown?
I think I'm about to answer that question, at least in my opinion, with this selection. But what I will say is I really wish I didn't invite Dibes to this league, because if I could have gotten Justin Jefferson there at 9, I would have absolutely lost my mind, because I think he should arguably be the 3rd person taken, even with Sam Darnold. He's absolutely quarterback proof. So I
really
think that's an absolute steal at number 8. Looking at what he put up last year with Nick Mullins and Jaron Hall, I love Justin Jefferson. Bernard's had to hear about it all summer with me talking about how I think he's getting disrespected by the fantasy community. But I'm still very happy here with 9, and I actually think there's a pretty easy answer when it comes to who is the better fantasy prospect from Philadelphia, and I think it's A.J. Brown. I think what you saw in that stretch of games where he was breaking records, I think Kellen Moore saw that as well. And I think Kellen Moore saw that was when the offense was at its best. And I think he's going to do everything he can to tailor the offense around what A.J. Brown does well. And he's been torching everybody in practice. I mean, he does that all the time. But
45-1 player of the year, offensive player of the year, 45-1. I'm an owner of that ticket.
I don't hate it. Probably too many just mouths in the Eagles offense for it.
45-1 is nice though. It dropped down. I think he's 35-1. Like it, for some odd reason, it just dropped down after I made that wager. Not saying my money moved it. Not saying it didn't.
But I've been vocal about it this year. I'm usually get your running backs early because I don't like to middle round. But for me personally, I think you need one of the top 10 receivers. You need a guy you feel like has a chance to be the number 1 wide receiver at the end of the year. So I feel like I got that with A.J. Brown. And I'm sure Joe Tansey feels like he got that with Garrett Wilson at the 10th pick there. Joe Tansey, are you happy with Garrett Wilson?
I just want to look inside the war room here at Tansey HQ. My wife, big Penn State fan, very excited that Saquon's with the Eagles, and she just realized who I drafted. And I got the hands up in the air, like, what are you doing? I'm getting flipped off over here. I got to make business decisions here. Garrett Wilson is going to be spoon-fed the entire season by Aaron Rodgers. And if it's not Aaron Rodgers, whatever schmuck they have behind him is going to throw to him. I don't trust Mike Williams as a healthy wide receiver. And there's a big drop-off after that. Somebody has to catch the ball in the Jets offense, and it's Garrett Wilson.
Garrett Wilson, 168 targets last year with all those, the random quarterbacks that they threw out there last year. So absolutely going to be spoon-fed the ball a ton with the Jets.
I think if Garrett Wilson is as good as the fantasy community thinks he's going to be this year, the Jets are a Super Bowl contender. That's my thoughts on Garrett Wilson, because I'm a little skeptical for him at this level. But I obviously he's an elite talent. I have him in the 2nd round, but if he breaks out the way that people think he's going to, I think the Jets can win the Super Bowl.
I mean, I look at the running backs that are available here. It's Jonathan Taylor, Saquon Barkley, Jahmyr Gibbs are the 3 best available. I can't say with 100% certainty all 3 get through the year. I mean, Taylor's had his issues. Saquon's had his issues. Gibbs obviously hasn't had a long enough career to say he's injury prone, but he's coming into week 1 with an injury. I just got to look at the best player available there at 10, and it was definitely Garrett Wilson for me.
Nick Picone at 11 chimes in. He takes Devontae Adams, a guy who I'm really high on this year. I think Devontae Adams is a great pick there. Devontae Adams, the end of last year with Antonio Pierce at the coach, he was the number 1 targeted receiver in fantasy football. He had 103 catch, 1,200 yard, 8 touchdown season with Aiden O'Connell at the helm. Whatever you think of Minshew, I do think Minshew is a big improvement there at the quarterback position. And Sean Brace came up for 2 and snagged Puka Nacua and Saquon Barkley. Brace, are you feeling good about that turn?
You know, here's the deal. I was thinking about this turn essentially since we got the draft order. And I said I want to have fun. So Saquon was an easy one for me. Puka was a difficult decision. You know, I'm a sucker for Pittman. MHJ, I wanted to throw that in your face, Mark Henry Jr. I really wanted to roll the dice a little bit with Neighbors, but too early for him on that one. But yeah, so for me, it came down to Puka. Puka was the difficult one, and as I said, Saquon just wanted to have a little fun. Get me an eagle there, so that's gonna be fun.
And then after that, I love the start here from Picone. Jonathan Taylor is a steal there. I was really AJ Brown and Jonathan Taylor is a real toss up to me. I ended up going with AJ Brown, but I think Taylor's a steal. Mike Evans from Tansy, old reliable, Mr. Consistency. So he kind of went with the young upside swing with Wilson, and then the reliable guy with Mike Evans.
Look, I'm not the biggest expert here. I'm the college football guy, but I'll tell you one thing I do know about Garrett Wilson and Mike Evans. The ball is going to be thrown to them at a ridiculously high volume, and I kind of
Garrett Wilson's disgusting.
And the way in a good way. Thank you. I know. I appreciate that. I'll take all the compliments I can get. But I look at this. Didn't get any favors with the 10 pick, Mark.
I'm at 9
on there. I thought we I could have bribed my way up to 7, maybe 6. That would have been nice.
Back to back. We're back to back here.
But with the backs available, I can wait. I need reliability, and that's what I get at receiver with Wilson and Evans.
I am about to do something dumb here, to be
Let's
quite
go!
honest.
Uh-oh.
My highest available player is Kyron Williams, just to be quite honest. And I'm biased there. I'm a Notre Damer. But I do think, just looking how good he was last year, he's a great run blocker. He's just always going to stay on the field. I don't see them really taking him off the field a lot. But I've had 4 big fantasy drafts, and I've spent all summer talking about how much I love Marvin Harrison Jr. How I think he should go 12th overall.
You gotta trust your board, man.
I'm coming in, and I'm taking Marvin Harrison Jr.
Yeah.
We're going receiver. I have to put my money where my mouth is. I have Kyron Williams in another league, a big league, so I have to get a little Marvin Harrison Jr. stock.
Love the pick.
Love it.
You knew I was going to go Marvin Harrison Jr. too.
I thought Brace might take him at the turn because I know Brace is big on Marv.
I could have talked myself into him on that one very easily, but decided to roll a Puka.
Philly's tied it up, by the way, for anyone.
Yeah, saw that out of nowhere.
2 screens. And after, I thought there was a pick after me. Was there?
Mr.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
I got Luke checking in via the YouTube chat saying, I fear I have won the draft already. See you, boys.
He hasn't even made a second pick.
And this is where I'm going to take things off the rails a little bit here.
Uh-oh.
Here we go.
Uh-oh.
Jalen?
Uh-oh. I'm going to boo this pick, I think.
All right, back in action here. Yeah, take this one a little off the rails. I really love this guy. I could not risk him not getting back to me on the turn. Derrick Henry is joining my team here. I don't understand. I even gave some thought to the first round pick here. This is going to be the first time in Derrick Henry's career that he's not going to be facing a completely stacked box. The dude has exceeded 1,000 yards in 5 of the past 6 seasons. He's a freak. He's not shown any signs of going downhill yet. Sign me up for a guy who I think is going to have a top 5 running back.
Damn. Spitting.
I think Henry and Gibbs are both great picks. Their dives took Gibbs.
Yeah.
right before Bernard took Henry. They're very much in the same tier to me. I think that's a personal preference thing. I
Yeah,
love
that's
both
on the rails. Like, off the rails would
Mhm.
be, yeah, like Kelsey or something at this point. But you're good.
I
You're
thought,
all
yeah, I
good.
thought you were going QB when you said off the rails there. Yeah.
What is the most off the rails pick you could make in the first 2 rounds of a fantasy draft, Mark?
Quarterback.
This year,
Well,
quarterback. Yeah. I think quarterback is.
I just
is,
have never. That's such a ballsy move, man. I just want to see. I had my draft on Saturday. Let me see where he was taken.
I can make the case for Allen or Hurts like late second round. I mean,
Well,
I
he
don't
went
think that's
mid second round in my draft on
I
Saturday.
don't think late second round's too crazy. I wouldn't
Would
do
you-
it, but I don't
Roy,
think it's too
would you rather have your top tight end or your top quarterback this year?
That's a good question.
That's a very good question because I was just talking with Brace last week. There's so much value at both positions, like deep. Like you can wait
Yeah,
on
I
both of those
agree.
guys.
I generally agree.
I guess I'd probably rather have my top quarterback, but it's those positions are very deep fantasy wise. I mean,
I lean
Yeah.
top tight end. I think
Okay.
I would lean towards getting Kelsey or Laporta. How you answered with the quarterbacks, you think it's fine at the back end of the second. That's kind of how I feel about Kelsey and Laporta.
So
if
for
we
like
were to take them at the back end of the second.
if you're a casual, like you're just dipping into this and you see Josh Allen, Mahomes, Lamar Jackson, because we're all in those fantasy leagues, right? Where it's not always all the experts, what you're with
Of course.
couples,
No,
friends, whatever it may
Mhm.
be. What would your advice be to them if this is the only fantasy football preview they're tuning into? What would your advice be to them on quarterbacks?
My advice would be that the number 10 quarter. It's hard to explain it to. I guess I'm trying to dumb it down. I guess, but it's just the number 10 quarterback doesn't score that much fewer than the number 1 quarterback generally.
Right.
And there's outlier seasons, but you can have one of the worst starting quarterbacks in your league, and I don't think it's that big of a disadvantage. And week to week, they could actually be better than the number 1 quarterback because of how boom or bust the position can be. Whereas like the top receivers are a bit more consistent. The top running backs are a bit more impactful because there's so few, and there is such a valley of a gap between RB1 and RB11 or 12. You asked a question, Tansy, that I kind of had an answer to now, and he's sitting at the top of the draft board. And I'll just say it before anyone takes it so no one gets upset when I ridicule it when they pick him. I do not understand the Isaiah Pacheco being a second round pick in an offense with Patrick Mahomes and Travis Kelce and now 2 additional receivers. Isaiah Pacheco is
Totally disagree.
I can't ever remember a fantasy player being this overrated going into a season.
I'm gonna drive right into this.
So why
I like it, Tim.
You have
why is he overrated?
James Conner scored 13 less points than Isaiah Pacheco last season and played 1 less game. He also played with a backup quarterback for a majority of the season and excelled when Kyler was back into the lineup. In the last 5 weeks that Kyler played, he finished as a top 5 running back 4 times. James Conner's going 64.6 picks after Isaiah Pacheco in average draft position. And Isaiah Pacheco was in an offense that just got Hollywood Brown and Xavier Worthy added to it. Rasheed Rice is another year into the system. And they have Patrick Mahomes. So
Mark, I want to go.
I hate the pick. I'm sorry. I said it before you picked it. I don't get it.
Let me defend him. You just said with Connor, he got so much better with Kyler Murray in there, right? So when the offense improves, running back improves. You're right. The Chiefs added more weapons. The Chiefs offense last year was, if you look at the last 5 years, it's the outlier. The Chiefs that was the worst Chiefs offense we've seen. So now the Chiefs offense gets better, more opportunities for touchdowns for Pacheco, more opportunities to stay on the field longer as a team, get more touches that way. Even though he might have less percent share, the offense overall is better. Mahomes is going to drive the offense to be great. He is the best running back there by far. I am fully bought in on Pacheco. So we'll see.
Okay,
We're
Tim.
with a fun like water bed. We have to go.
Yeah.
He had 205 carries last year. Is he getting a lot more? He didn't have 1,000 yards. Didn't rush for
Are they
5
going to
yards.
have receivers?
He's never rushed for 5 yards per carry. He's never scored 8 touchdowns in a year. Like he's got 12 touchdowns in 2 years. People talk about him like he's Brandon Jacobs on the goal line. Like I don't understand it. He's got
I like his over.
He had 1 goal line touchdown last season. One goal
Exactly,
line
but he's going to
touchdown.
get more goal line opportunities on a better offense.
He had 205 carries. The Chiefs
and they
scored
didn't
plenty
score
of
as
points.
much.
They scored enough. I mean, they were still a top 10 offense. I don't think that there's a lot of room for improvement. And the rooms for improvement to me are very much in the passing game with Mahomes. You look at Mahomes, that was such a down year for him. I think the improvement will come with Xavier Worthy and Hollywood Brown taking the targets from who? Sky Moore and I'm
Juju?
struggling. Juju was there 2 years ago. Who was there last
Xavier
year?
Worthy.
Juju put
Yeah,
up numbers.
well, yeah, Xavier Worthy.
MVS.
Xavier Worthy, MVS.
Yeah,
Yes,
yeah.
MVS was the other guy there last year.
So to
But
the Chiefs. So
before we
Rashee
hold on,
Rice-
I just want to
Yeah,
recap a couple of the picks before because I feel like we're getting a little bit behind.
Yeah.
Sorry, I think it's good though. I think it's good to
Yeah.
have this.
Let's go, Kamish.
Some of these debates about polarizing players for sure. But steal of the draft with Kyron Williams there in the middle of the second round. Love Slash's team so far. Chris Olave, solid pick there from Jeremy. I feel like Chris Olave is kind of like the meh pick. Like it's a good pick. It's a
Always,
fine pick.
yep.
Good,
It's kind of
solid.
very just like I can't see a lot of upside, can't see a lot of downside. He's probably going to be really good. But Travis Etienne, great pick. Pacheco, you know my stance, as Stu Feiner would say.
Why is ETN a great pick? Let me ask you that.
Travis Etienne, I don't think people realize how good Travis Etienne was last year. And I
RB7.
feel like RB7 overall, the Jags kind of figured out like, oh yeah, we drafted this guy so high because he's a pass catcher. And I think that now you look at this offense where Calvin Ridley's gone now. So I think that they're going to use his best trade. And hey now,
There he
Lloyd
is.
Burton putting his money where his
There
mouth
he
is.
is.
But we got the Pacheco.
Come on,
DJ Moore went second there. By the way, do not like that DJ Moore pick at all. I'll just be upfront about that. I don't get
That was going to
pick
be my
there.
question mark is do you hate the Moore pick or the Pacheco pick more?
Moore. I hate the Moore pick more. I hate the Moore pick more. But Pittman there at the turn, I like that pick. And Jalen Hurts over Josh Allen as your QB1, Roy. Is that your opinion, or are you just having a little Eagles fun here?
No, that's my opinion. I've kind of been
Okay.
on the Jalen Hurts QB1 bandwagon. I just have some issues with that.
Come
I just don't think those Buffalo receivers are going to be able to pick up the slack that they lost from Stephon
That's
Diggs
fair.
and Gabe Davis. So yeah, so
You
I'm going to
did
go with
say
Jalen
that.
Hurts.
Yeah. You did say that to me earlier this offseason. You did. That's totally. I have them neck and neck. It's totally
coin flip.
up in the air
It's a
for
coin
me.
flip.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And someone I don't have neck and neck with them is Patrick Mahomes, who went the next pick.
Wow.
Although I will say, I think I'm starting, and I just talked about it. I think that there is room for improvement with the Chiefs passing game. I think I might be underrating Mahomes a little bit going into this year. I have him as QB4, and I have him a little bit behind the Allen, Hurts, Lamar tier. I might be wrong there. I might be willing to say I probably have Mahomes ranked too low on an overall level. Nico Collins, solid pick there. I like Nico a lot. TKO, Nico, are you pumped about Nico there?
I am pumped about Nico. Again, admittedly, so you guys heard me after the first pick. I'm like, I'm going hero RB. This will be great. And all of a sudden, everyone started yanking receivers, which I respect the strategies. Is Nico my ideal number one? Probably not. Again, there's a couple more mouths to feed. Stephon Diggs now in Houston. But Nico got paid. They paid him like a number one. It is Texas, right? It's not wrong. The Texans.
Right.
But yeah, so I'm happy. I won't say thrilled, as thrilled as I am with Pacheco, of course, as we all know. But separately, happy. Have like a B plus number one wide receiver one.
So
Yeah.
Mark and Roy, I want to get back to the Chiefs for a second because
Yeah.
it fascinates the whole conversation about the Chiefs fascinates because they're Super Bowl champions. Like they've gotten so far in the playoffs many years with Mahomes, but let's be honest, the receiver group hasn't been phenomenal. So Rashee Rice, who knows what's going to happen, right? With if he gets suspended or not. Hollywood Brown, when healthy, very good. But that's kind of a big if, right? The health has always been an issue with him. You have Xavier Worthy, who I think was great in college. So how do you – I guess this goes back to the Pacheco question too. How do you – or what do you make of the Chiefs wide receiver group? And I guess from the fantasy perspective, how do they rate out and I guess how do you rank them in a way? I know Kelsey gets the number one target share, but what happens with that mess after that?
I ranked them back to back to back initially, like I somewhere like 30, 31, 32. I truly think it's like a pick your poison, like whoever you think has the most upside to break out to be the wide receiver one of that offense. And I honestly think they all have the upside to do that because we saw it with Rashee Rice already. I think Xavier Worthy has the speed to just, if they use that the proper way, like he might be the most productive receiver in that offense right away. And Hollywood Brown, I mean, he's had some pretty good years with much lesser quarterbacks, so he could step in and be the one wide receiver one right away. I think it's whoever you think is going to be. I obviously downgraded Hollywood a little bit after the injury, and I think I bumped Rice and Worthy up together. Roy, what do you think? How would you rank the three?
Yeah, I think for me, I think Rice is the clear one out of those guys.
Okay.
And
I'm
again,
a little bit
there
higher
is-
on Worthy, yeah.
And there is the caveat of the suspension, which I'm kind of surprised that we haven't heard anything about, but
Right.
it is. But yeah, so yeah, Rice, one, and then I actually did have have Hollywood Brown and Xavier Worthy back to back on my big wide receiver big board. So they're 2 and 3 to me, but I think Rice is definitely the one. I think he's going to be a pretty decent target share guy on that team, regardless of whatever happens with those young guys.
Luke takes Drake London there. I like that pick. Jeremy takes James Cook. I like that pick. We're on a roll here.
James Cook. I love James Cook. Also, Slash checked in and he wanted to thank Sean Bernard for that horrendous Derrick Henry pick. Slash.
Oh, wow.
Ooh.
Wow. Slash.
Keeping the receipts. That's all I'm saying. Here.
Take a screenshot, Bernard.
Yeah, I might need a screenshot now. We're gonna have to save that bad boy.
Oh, I like a little slash Sean feud. There's legs there. There's legs.
I do think Derrick Henry may legitimately end the season as a top 5 running back. I think
I think there's
like
definitely a chance. Yeah.
the concerns with, I think this is the best case scenario for him to go to a Baltimore team. He seriously will never see running lanes like he will this year. He never has in the past, facing a stack box on an every down basis. I cannot wait to see him take this Ravens team to the next level and be a driving force, I think.
For what it's worth, I have Derrick Henry as my RB6 going into this year. So I'm very high on Henry. I think I have him about 13 or 14 overall. So I'm right there with Sean Bernard. I'm going against Slash here. But I like Slash's pick, Rachaad White. He was fantastic last year, Rachaad White. Even if he wasn't necessarily the most efficient, he was fantastic for fantasy purposes. And it seems like Tampa still trusts him. They added Bucky Irving, but I think that he's going to probably have the same exact role in this offense. You could argue maybe the offense will be a little worse, but Roy, any thoughts on the White pick there?
He is a Chris Olave at running backs. Not
That's
exciting, but every single week he's going to get you, 12, 13, 14 points and be a solid, no worse than an RB2 with potential RB1 upside every week.
I was just
And
going to
this is-
ask you guys: is he like the most unheralded running back out of the top?
Yeah, I think it's because
15?
he's actually not that good. I think is why he's unheralded, but he gets a lot of work. He gets a lot of work in that offense. But this is one of those times where I really wish I didn't talk fantasy all summer with Sean Bernard because Alvin Kamara was someone who I would have been.
I was eyeing him up as well.
Oh,
I
good
love
pick.
Alvin
Very
Kamara.
good
I would have been.
I hit
pumped
Roy
to
up
get
on
him
Saturday about that because there was a
Yeah.
dude on my timeline that was down on Kamara. I don't know, one of those geniuses. He's got 100,000 followers. I've never seen a dude before, but he's like, Alvin Kamara, I'd avoid him. I'm like, wait a minute, what? Like, what is there negative about that dude? He kills it. Yo, follow up just to let you know there, Mark Henry Jr., Tim O'Keefe, Solidarity, brother, on DraftKings Sportsbook, over 900 yards even, minus 115. Pacheco goes over that number. I'm on it. I'm taking it right now. Let's go.
That's fine.
Absolutely, Sean. Love it.
He went over that number last year, and he wasn't a top 10 running back. But that's what am I? I don't. That's not like you said 1,200.
That's a great point, Sean. But
Is that a
also,
good bet?
it doesn't matter.
I think it's fine. I think it's a fine bet.
We need a
I don't
side
really
bet. We
bet.
need a side
I
bet
don't
on
really
this.
bet those over unders. I think the money's definitely generally smart on the unders with player props on season totals, just because of injuries. But yeah, I generally don't play those, so I don't have. I'm probably not.
Well, that's free
intelligent
money.
enough to answer it.
Risk free, as I believe Reese Davis.
Risk-free investment.
Shout out to Reese. Shout out Reese Davis.
Sean, congrats on having an opinion.
I'm
Here's why you're
struggling here.
wrong.
I'm struggling here, fellas. I'm struggling here.
Yeah, I'm going to give it up. Just whatever you do, don't bring up Pacheco anymore. You're not going to win that argument.
I'll bring him up on
Here we go.
every show.
I want I want a gentleman's.
Well,
bet,
it's
Mark.
not
We're
like
coming
I'm
up to
just
something.
saying I
Top
think
10 back.
it's
top 10
not
back.
top 10 back. What was he
Top
last
10
year?
back.
I'm curious. I'll look.
No, 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 I'm saying
13, I
this
think it
year.
was
I'm saying this
RB13
year.
last year.
Well, I have
14,
him ranked as like RB. I think I have him RB 14.
14.
I think
I'll
I have
take
him
the
RB14.
over.
This is what
I'll
I love
take
though about this
14.
stuff is like, you know how they say there's like tweets that like dudes will like spend hours naming like random players. We're literally just sitting here spending like our entire draft arguing about Isaiah Pacheco.
Damn right.
I don't even like the pick I just made, to be quite honest. I think he's the last of a tier here at the running back position with Josh Jacobs. I'm choosing to believe that Josh Jacobs didn't just get bad last year all of a sudden. I think that the offense was probably not very good. The offensive line was probably not very good. Hopefully he's in a better situation switching teams. It's a boomer bust pick, but I don't think that they have a lot behind him. I don't like the pick, to be quite honest. But when you go receiver, it takes you out of some of the receivers that you'd like to look at. But I did this with an eye on the 4th round. I'll circle back on that when I get to my next pick.
I'll cue you up here, Mark, because it's kind of exactly what I'm doing here. So while you're talking, I'll make my pick. Who's the better TE1? Is it Sam Laporta or Travis Kelce?
So me and Roy are head to head on that one. I would go Kelce. Roy would go Laporta. Roy, you want to go first?
Yeah, no, I think Laporta's the guy. I mean, I think last year, the 10 touchdowns, I think that's a little bit of an outlier, but he's still going to get a ton of targets. I'm not entirely sold on Jameson Williams. I mean, Amon-Ra St. Brown's still going to get his looks, but Sam Laporta's my guy. He's my tight end 1 on the board this year for sure.
I have them back to back. And I didn't honestly, Tansy, I didn't have a compelling argument. I knew Roy had a probably better argument. To me, it's just like we have a longer track record with Kelce, and that's positives and
Speaking
negatives.
of tight ends,
and there it goes. And those are great picks at this point. And that's kind
Yeah.
of,
I have to at this point.
Oh, it's a great pick. I wish I would have done it where I took Jacobs. I thought maybe I could sneak one of them on the way back potentially. But I felt like with receiver, I had to at least snag the last running back that I thought was in a tier of its own there. But Laporta and Kelce are great picks.
Talk to me about those tiers because again, I'm not doing this selfishly at all.
No,
it's
good.
with my draft research whatsoever. You guys haven't picked up on what I'm doing right now. But where do the tiers stop at running backs? Like what's I don't know however many tiers you guys have, but like
mine are psychotic, I would say, because
that doesn't surprise me.
Just because of how low I am on like
Pacheco,
kind of mixing H and Pacheco. But like I think there's a tier of like Kamara, Jacobs, White, Cook, James Conner, who I don't think most people would put in that tier, but mix in A-Chain Pacheco, and you could take Conner out if you wanted of that, but I think that's like a tier of its own. You could separate that for me, maybe Kamara, Jacobs, White, Cook in its own tier, and then the mix in A-Chain Pacheco in another, but that's my own psychotic kind of rankings and stat stuff. Jalen Waddle, I love that pick at this point. I think the Dolphins scare me. A lot of like the Tyreek Hill, A-Chain, where's the room for improvement a little bit? Like A-Chain was so historically efficient. Hill was so good, so historic. Jalen Waddle's the guy that I look at in that offense, and I'm like, he has kind of the room for a leap there. And maybe it comes at the expense of Hill, or maybe it just comes in addition to what they had last year. But Waddle's the guy who I can see leaping.
Sorry to cut you off. You ready for a play right now? Yeah, let's get the room talking a little bit.
First defense.
Adam Vinatieri.
Wow.
Let's go.
Wow.
All right.
CJ Stroud. There's no sophomore slump. He slings it all over the place this year with those wide receivers. Plenty of mouths to feed. The Houston Texans, I am the owner of that ticket. They finished with the best record in the game. Also, I own a Chargers ticket, worst record in the game. But CJ Stroud, real deal. Watch out. Light him up.
By the way, very glad the rest of the world has caught on to my accurate Justin Herbert takes throughout the year.
Yeah, I think Stroud over Allen's crazy. I'll be honest. I think Stroud's being drafted kind of like at the ceiling of his value. He adds no rushing, so it's hard for him. He has to be like 5K 35.
Dude,
plus
Lamar was
touchdowns.
there. I passed on Lamar. That was
Yeah.
the one. And I love Josh
No,
Allen. Don't get me wrong.
I
But
Really?
Josh
No.
Josh Allen's
No.
QB1 for me.
Yeah.
He's
Um,
been Brace. We talked about this. He's been QB1 or QB2 like each of like the last 5 fantasy years.
Yeah,
Like,
he's
a
money.
monster.
Josh Allen's money when it comes to fantasy football.
no, I didn't say anything bad about him. Absolutely. I said I was looking at Lamar Jackson, though. I passed on him.
Yeah, I
Let's
would have
see here.
taken Lamar over Stroud as well. Stroud's my QB7 going into this year. So
But if he's the QB7, oh shit, I better not show up.
I'm just giving my opinions. I
I'm
don't.
messing with you.
All right, we just talked about him. So Josh Allen, there's got a little bit of change in that Buffalo offense. So
Sure.
we just talked about the Chiefs. They've been a fixture in the AFC for a long time. So the Bills.
my opinion of the last pick.
My
Go for it.
pick, Malik Neighbors.
I don't want to upset Sean Brace and be deemed
What?
as a hater.
What?
No,
Wait.
I hate. Yeah, I hate the Neighbors pick.
No.
It's
yeah.
fine.
Comes down to
I don't
quarterback.
care.
Daniel Jones is terrible. Daniel
fine.
Jones is so bad. I do not understand all the Neighbors hype, and ESPN has him ranked like 26 or something crazy. So the middle of the 4th round is less crazy than a lot of what I've seen with Malik Neighbors over the last couple of weeks in fantasy football. But I just don't get it.
All right, so we'll skip the Bills for a second since you don't like the Neighbors pick. The rookie wideouts. So obviously now Marvin Harrison Jr., Malik Neighbors, Rome Odunze in Chicago obviously is the third wide receiver.
Yeah.
What's the fantasy outlook on these rookie wideouts? I obviously look to me that taking Neighbors here is kind of just I'm taking a little bit of a shot because of Daniel Jones. I'm very aware. I've watched Daniel Jones play quarterback probably too many times, and the same can be said about everybody. You know, we don't need to see Daniel Jones play quarterback, but I've seen the talent that Malik Neighbors is. Maybe that elevates him. I feel like the Giants have had otherworldly wide receiver talent recently either. So maybe that elevates Daniel Jones just a little bit. I don't know. But I guess for you guys, what's the outlook on all of these rookie wide receivers? Where should they be drafted? Like, what's that actual like production outlook for these guys?
Well, I'll say this, I'll say this
Roy
about
take it,
Neighbors.
yeah.
I'll say this about Neighbors. I mean, like outside of MHJ, he'll probably get the most targets out of these rookies.
Yeah,
like maybe I'm wrong on this, Henry. I'm not sure if. I mean,
No,
you know,
no,
Odunze's
you're
gonna
probably
get
right.
he's gonna get some. I mean, McConkey in LA. I mean, he's gonna get some, but Neighbors is gonna get a ton of looks this year. I like guys who get targets. So I mean, nothing for nothing. He's gonna get the ball thrown to him a lot. So I think he's gonna be fairly productive. For me, this is probably a couple rounds early. Because I still think there's pretty decent wide receivers on the board still, but I mean it's a dice roll that's worth it. I mean if you believe that Daniel Jones is going to be somewhat decent this year, then I think Malik Neighbors is probably in line for 75, 70, maybe 70 catches this year. I don't think that's out of the realm of possibility.
I actually got auto picked my pick, but that's who I wanted, so I had my cue ready to go. I was too yelling about Neighbors. But
Yo,
Cooper
CJ
Kupp-
Stroud throws for 40 touchdown passes this year. Book it.
40.
40
would take
40 is a
that
lot, brother.
I would
40 is a
take
lot.
that
That's a
action,
lot.
brother.
Book it.
Is it-
but
4-0.
For
What's
what it's
that
worth,
number?
It's
Those
28,
picks-
28 and a half is his number for the
Yeah, I
year.
was gonna say it's not even close to that. I didn't think it was. Obviously we're on the over 28 and a half.
I did write a
I think-
DraftKings Sportsbook article on the over for 28 and a half. So I got you on that. Can't get me to 40 though.
40, baby.
But I do.
Not a
I
fluke.
love the last 3 picks here. I love the last 3 picks. I think that's
picks.
the last
It is
of a
good
tier with
It's
Kupp,
good picks.
Debo, and Devontae. And Ayuk's in that tier, but obviously there's more questions with Ayuk. But yeah, I think those are Debo's. But Debo's a great pick there. I'm not going to toot my own horn on Kupp, but I will say Kupp has a 30% target share over the last 3 years. He averages 22.1 fantasy points per game when he plays with Stafford. When he played with Puka at the end of the year, they were kind of even when it came to the target share. So Puka was a little bit better with his targets, but I think there's a chance we're writing off Kupp as like a wide
Are
receiver.
we not
one.
concerned about his
way too
injury? It
fast.
seems like he's getting dinged up a lot. Am I off?
No,
on that?
that's fair. I always struggle with like how I'm not a doctor, but
Damn it. I'm not a doctor.
You're not a doctor, but
But
you
he-
stayed at the Holiday Inn Express last night.
There you go.
he's been so fantastic when he's played, and it's hard.
He
for
won the
me
Triple
to
Crown 2
get
years
past
ago.
that.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
sick.
As someone waiting to find their wide receiver 2, these last 3 picks have taken 3 years off my life. So had all 3 in my queue. Boom, boom, boom.
To be fair here, we're in the 4th round. Like, you do have to speed up your fantasy drafts a little bit.
Later on, we can.
Dude. Do you know what happened on Saturday? We did a draft without a clock. That was the longest draft I've ever been
my
a part
God.
of. Oh, it was
Are
ridiculous.
those people insane?
Well, look, it moved along. It was just a party, and next thing you know, we kept it moving. People were on them, but it was still funny because people were, look, there was no clock, so you're looking, you're like, all right, dude, come on, let's go. But
And just to show it's not all
Hold
love,
on.
not that anyone thinks it is. I'm known as a hater, I guess now. But I think.
oh, would you calm down? I was getting piled on. I'm clapping back.
I
off.
think Stephon Diggs is a bad pick. I think he's the 3rd best receiver in that offense. I don't get the Stephon Diggs stuff.
We need to do like a power ranking of Mark Henry's bad picks.
Yeah, the quarterback is definitely.
We need that video pronto tomorrow morning, Mark. Forget whatever else you're doing.
Worst
in life.
picks.
We need like a power ranking of your personal worst picks of everybody else. Tear us down. Make us feel terrible about our teams.
I like that. A-Chain, it's funny. I generally hate when A-Chain gets drafted. This is the lowest I've seen A-Chain go. I don't know if Roy, doesn't this seem like really low for A-Chain?
Yeah, I've seen him go like late 2nd round. A couple times.
Same.
Yes, this is pretty low. So this is good value for A-Chain in the 4th for sure.
Yeah. So normally I feel like I'd be critical of the A-Chain pick, but in the middle of the 4th, there's tremendous upside there, obviously. Yeah. I'm a little bit concerned. He rushed for 7.8 yards per carry last year. I just don't know if that's like
it's not gonna happen again. It's not gonna happen again.
Yeah. If he rushes for 5, what is he? That's kind of like my question. Like
he's Barry Sanders. That's what he is. He rushes for 5.
He's an interesting case, and it just scares me. I saw you were actually tweeting about it while we're on that topic. Jalen Wright has been getting some buzz from the fantasy community, and I feel like Raheem Mostert's actually like rising up boards a little bit too. But there's just so many mouths to feed there, Roy.
That's the thing. I think A-Chain has been getting overdrafted, and Mostert's been getting underdrafted.
Yeah,
so I think this is a very good value for A-Chain. And I think Mostert's probably should go a couple rounds later, just because of the man had 21 touchdowns last year. Like he's not going to not be in the offense. And Jalen Wright is, A-Chain said himself that Jalen Wright might be more explosive than he is. So you got to find a spot for him in the offense as well. So so I think, and I told this to Brace last week, if you draft one of those guys, come round 13, 14, you might want to think about handcuffing Jalen Wright to those guys, because like could be extraordinarily valuable come later in the season.
I know Bernard. What's up?
He says Mostert too old.
Yeah,
he's 30.
That's old for running back.
Yeah,
he's had 21 touchdowns last year. I mean, he did something right. I mean,
right.
Granted, he won't do it again, but I mean, like with a reasonable amount of volume, I don't see why he couldn't be a, David Montgomery last year type of guy. I mean, I think he can give you that kind of volume, that kind of production again this year.
I don't want to speak. I don't want to speak.
Have we singled you out for criticizing us too much?
I'm gonna be critical again.
There you go.
What a
if you go with Calvin Ridley.
TKO's drafting off my do not draft list that I gave out 2 weeks ago on the Tough Cover Radio show. Calvin Ridley. I don't have Calvin Ridley in my top 100 overall. He's going to an offense with a bad quarterback, with DeAndre Hopkins, with 2 running backs. One of those are going to be used in the passing game. I don't understand why Calvin Ridley's going like 6 rounds ahead of DeAndre Hopkins, who has a rapport with Will Levis and played with him last year. And Calvin Ridley, watching him last year on Jacksonville was a chore. The guy looked like slow and lazy out on the field. He would just loaf routes. He couldn't get his
bet on
feet
himself
down
anymore.
Yeah, I just think a year off of football is a death knell. And we saw it with Deshaun Watson taking 2 years off. And I know Calvin Ridley had better numbers, I think. He was pretty inefficient with the amount of targets he got, if you look at that. I don't think he's going to get the same amount of targets, and I think they're going to be even less efficient in a worse offense. So I'm pretty much steering clear of the Titans offense as a whole.
So I'm not as passionate in defending the Calvin Ridley, but let me give you the upside. The upside is the reports that have come out. I was listening to the reports coming out of Titans camp. is he's been killing it. And the one quote this might be a bit of a paraphrase, but it was, "Wow, I am happy the Jaguars had no idea how to use this guy and we got him." That was like one of the reporters coming out of there. They are going to be a bad team. They do have a bad quarterback. I'm not a Levis guy, but he does sling it around. He throws it deep. If Ridley does have a little bit of that recovery after, first year back, now he has a bounce back after that, give that back. I can see an upside story. I am not ready to put he will be a top 10 like Isaiah Pacheco, as we all know, but I can see the upside story.
That's fair. Joe Mixon and Kenneth Walker. I think those are good picks.
I got Mark Henry. I got your list here of the
do
Mark
not
Henry,
draft.
the
Do
Mark
not draft list.
Henry gang knots. I think it's fair to say quarterback is CJ Stroud, right?
Yeah, Stroud would be on there.
Running back Pacheco 1. We need 2. We
DJ Moore.
Moore. Moore is on there. We got Ridley, we got Neighbors, and we got Diggs.
Yeah.
All right. So we got to put DJ Moore in there.
Yeah.
I need a
By the
tight
way,
end.
Mixon's enough. I have a tight end later. We'll get to. But Mixon is a guy who I feel like I generally think goes too high. Similar to A-Chain here, though. I feel like ended up going at a very fair value, if not like a great value, honestly. So
I like
Mixon's
Mixon.
He's not a guy I love, but at this point, I think it's a good pick.
I love upping Houston, baby.
I'd like to chime in with my
Get that Super Bowl
opinion.
ticket, Grace.
You know
Roy,
what?
I love your Trey McBride pick.
Thank you.
What is it?
Thank you.
That's all. I have no.
Oh yeah. That's right.
He was just very good at the end of last year. I like the pick.
I'm a little bit worried about adding Marvin Harrison Jr. to the offense, but I like the pick. He's I think all of like tight end 3 through 8 are the same. Like you could make a case, honestly, in my opinion. Trey McBride, Mark Andrews, Kyle Pitts, Evan Engram, Dalton Kincaid, George Kittle. Like I have them ranked like literally 5 in a row on my overall list. So there's no separation between tight end 3 and 8 for me.
So let me ask you that though. Do you think those guys, any of those guys, could ultimately be tight end 1 this year?
Yeah, I do. I actually think tight end 1 could be wide open. Just because Laporta's not as cemented. For years it was like, oh, Kelsey's tight end 1, and we'll talk about the rest. Like Laporta, if Laporta had 100 less yards and a touchdown or 2 less, like it wouldn't be the craziest thing ever. Like so that would leave it open. I mean, Evan Engram had 1 million targets last year. Kyle Pitts, I think, has crazy upside if he gets used well. What'd you say?
Don't fall for it. I said, don't fall for it.
I'm in the quicksand, brother. Dalton Kincaid is the tight end that I'm a little bit skeptical of. I feel like he's the one that you're doing the most projecting with of this tier, and I get it. I mean, not a lot of receivers in that offense that are going to demand a lot of targets, but I think a lot of people are just assuming he's going to step into a role that we haven't really seen in a Josh Allen offense of a tight end dominating kind of the target share. And a lot of that's because that's not what Dawson Knox is. But Kincaid would be the guy I guess, the most skeptical of the group. And then Kittle's kind of the most boring one. But yeah.
Sure.
Mark Andrews, great for fantasy. I have a sneaky take about Mark Andrews that I think like if you plugged in like 20 of the tight ends in the league into his spot in Baltimore's offense, Lamar would make them Mark Andrews because he kind of did that with Isaiah Likely when Mark Andrews was out.
He did.
But when Mark Andrews is in, he uses the crap out of him. Lamar loves his tight ends. So yeah, all these tight ends to me are good picks at this point.
And Luke's snaking my pick, taking Lamar Jackson here. I was going to
great pick.
Going to pair the Lamar and Derrick Henry backfield on Team Bernard here, but unfortunately wasn't meant to be.
Shit. That would have been lethal.
Rossi, combining that, does anyone have any concerns with Henry coming in, Lamar rushing going down significantly? Because if they tune the offense so he tries to stay healthy longer term, like we know running QBs eventually break down a little quicker, is there concern that they're just going to be feeding Henry more and that takes away from Lamar's running game?
The one thing I would say is that I would usually agree with that. Lamar lost 25 pounds and has been talking a lot about wanting to get back to his kind of top speed and wanting to run more. And he felt like he was a lot slower last year. And there was a lot of stats. Warren Sharp had a thread about his yards per scramble last year and his like kind of yards per when he was getting blitzed. And he was just not as dynamic last year, which is funny to say. In a year he won MVP and they won like 14 games or whatever happened. But I think Lamar probably runs more between the 20s. I think it takes away any upside of Lamar scoring a lot of touchdowns. I think that would go to Henry. So I'm not worried about Lamar as a touchdown vulture for Henry. And I'm also not really worried about Henry as a yard vulture from Lamar. Is that crazy, Roy?
No, I think that makes a lot of sense. I wrote about it today. Like Gus Edwards led the league in goal line carries last year for 23. So I think those carries are just going to go to Derrick Henry. Like anything inside the 10s, it's going to go to Derrick Henry. And I think Mark is right. I think, between the 20s, I think Lamar is going to do Lamar things. But, when you got a, 3rd and 3 or whatever near the goal line, I think they'll just hand the ball off to Derrick Henry.
I might isolate Roy saying Mark was right and use it as a drop on that show. Tank Dell. I think Tank Dell is a good pick at this point.
Sean's guy.
Yeah.
I'm just worried about the Texans receivers. We're drafting 3 of them in the top 22. It's just like all 3 can't live up to that. So
somebody will underperform. Like they all can't have 90 catches. I mean, so
you think
who is it?
We're gonna shock the world.
Unless none of them are top 15. But I think Nico Collins will be. I think Nico Collins will be.
He's the guy.
Yes,
he's the guy.
I agree. I think Nico's the guy there. So I would go Nico, then Dell, then Diggs. I think Dell has a little higher upside than Diggs. You look at what he did per game last year. He's a lot better than Diggs was.
Sure.
And it's one of those situations where Diggs, like, everyone's pointing to Stephon Diggs and like, oh, he changes scenery, elite quarterback. It's not like he's coming from Daniel Jones. Like, Josh Allen was his quarterback. Like, I don't know. It's not like he's coming from a bad situation. Slash is a scumbag. Take James Conner. Oh my God.
Very good pick.
That was my guy too.
That came from my soul. Bernard is hurt all year. I think James Conner's like the most underdrafted guy in fantasy this season. And it's one of those things where it's like, I probably should have drafted him in the 4th round, but I have Cooper Kupp as like a top 25 player, so I just couldn't do it. But James Conner, I think people don't realize how good he is when Kyler Murray plays. When Kyler and James Conner are healthy, they are both elite talents.
Yeah, if it makes you feel better, Mark, he wasn't getting to you anyway because I was taking him at that pick.
That does make me feel
look,
better.
I think rule number 1 here is if you hype up a guy so much, like the entire crowd of characters here is going to take him.
The Cooper Kupp thing being there threw me for a loop. I would have considered him, but that's tough. It's a tough.
You know what you should do, Mark, is pick somebody like a sleeper that's going to go in like round like 9, and start like hyping him up now, and just run like a complete decoy on the entire.
Kenneth Gainwell, just an amazing talent.
Yeah.
I mean, just unbelievable.
Justice Hill.
If you talk up like Tyler Boyd's replacement in Cincinnati enough. I just might buy into it.
Jermaine Burton?
Yosevas?
No, Jermaine. I think it's Jermaine Burton. I think Burton will be the guy stepping into that from Bama. But I think we have a
bounce back season.
We have a polarizing pick.
We do.
The Tough Cover Radio show is about to go head to head here because I think Anthony Richardson's being drafted really high. The thing that I'm not going to say I hate this pick as much as I've said that about others because I'm not an idiot. I can see the upside. It's staggering. Like, if Anthony Richardson is as good as he can be and stays healthy for a full year, he could be QB1. So I understand the home run swing, but I think there's a lot of ifs there. There's a lot of ifs, and it's such a small sample size. And it's not a loaded offense in terms of weapons. So I'm a little skeptical about where Richardson's going, but I get it.
Yeah, look, I don't disagree. I have my concerns as well. I definitely will be drafting my backup quarterback far sooner than I likely ever would when taking a quarterback in the top 5 picks. But I got 2 running backs, got 2 wide receivers. And to me, I think Richardson's going to end up being a significantly better fantasy football quarterback than actual NFL quarterback, at least in the short term. So I'll ride with the ups and downs a little bit, see what we get. And it still could end up being a home run there.
Mark, talk to me about this, and anybody who can chime in, this three team kind of, they're all intertwined at running back. So Josh Jacobs goes to Green Bay. Aaron Jones is in Minnesota. Zamir White is he taking over in Vegas? I assume he's the guy. So what's the fantasy outlook in this kind of like love triangle between the Packers, Vikings, and Raiders swapping out running backs? Like they're familiar faces, right? So like everybody's going to be like Aaron Jones and who's the other guy? Jacobs. Right, they're familiar faces.
I just drafted Jones and I drafted Jacobs earlier. So yeah,
they got to be great picks.
They gotta be. No, I don't. I actually don't love the Aaron Jones pick here, but it's one of those things where it's just I think there's drop off from him to the next tier of running backs that are on my board. So I'm getting Aaron Jones because I have a lot of players available at the other two positions I'm looking at, and I don't have a lot there at the running.
I'm talking about like general like outlook because these are guys that
I think Aaron Jones
familiar names.
Yeah, well, Josh Jacobs, I think, is a third round pick, like probably an early
Okay.
third round pick for me, late second, maybe potentially. Kind of just depends on how high you are in that Packers offense and the offensive line. I'm pretty high on that offense. I think it could be one of the best in the NFL. So I'm pretty high there. Aaron Jones is kind of just one of those guys where I feel like every year we have guys ranked between like RB15 to RB20, where it's like, well, they're definitely the starter.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I think it's one of those things. And Aaron Jones, when he's played, has been really good still. So I'm just buying in on how good he looked when he was still healthy last year. So hoping that he didn't lose it all in 1 year. Not that it's a great situation for Minnesota, but it's not a bad offensive line. It's a pretty good offensive line, actually, for how kind of in flux the rest of the situation is now with Darnold at quarterback. But hey, maybe Darnold won't be as bad. Maybe he'll be as good as the draft experts told me he was 7 years ago.
I'll put this out to the field. It's not like fantasy related, but do the Raiders have the most underwhelming pair of running backs in the NFL?
Yeah,
Probably.
yeah.
Well,
It's
more
up
than
to the
Carolina.
Giants. The
Carolina?
Giants and Carolina.
Oh,
Yeah,
the Giants.
Giants
Yeah,
and Panthers are right there.
Yeah.
Giants and Panthers. I'm not a Tony Pollard guy, but Tajay Spears is exciting. So
Yeah.
I don't know that some people really like Zamir White. Like there is Zamir Whiteheads out there, Joe Tanzi. There are people out there stumping for Zamir White. Am I wrong about that, Roy?
No,
I don't
there's some mere white guys. I'm not one of them, but
No, neither am I. Neither am I.
Yeah,
I'm not going to speak for the Zamir heads, but they do exist. They're out there.
It's better that you call them the Zamir heads instead of the white heads because aren't those like pimples?
Yeah, it gets
That'd be a really ugly fan group.
Talking dermatology at that point. So those are two picks I love there. I think those two picks have tremendous upside. McLaurin there to Picone. I feel like every pick Picone makes, I always like. I feel like
yeah,
man.
it comes to the nice
He
draft.
won the award
That
last
was a
year,
good
didn't he?
draft.
I know, and then he went
He did.
6-8. I know, but I do love. I feel like I'll have to look through his team, but I like that McLaurin pick, and I like the Flowers pick even more. I love that Zay Flowers pick. I think there's a chance Zay Flowers is going way too low. And there's a chance Zay Flowers becomes a target vacuum in that offense and becomes a true wide receiver one that we've never seen really in the Ravens offense with Lamar. So I think there's a real chance Zay Flowers is a top 15 receiver at the end of the year when we look up.
Wow.
If not higher. Is that crazy, Roy?
I don't think it's crazy.
I like throwing questions at Roy and asking him if it's crazy.
No, because again, like look. The question is, somebody has to catch these passes, all right? And like obviously Andrews, if he's healthy, Mark Andrews is going to get, like you said, like the lion's share of the passes. But it's clear Zay Flowers is the number 2 target guy on that team. Derrick Henry catches a little bit out of the backfield, but not a lot. I think he's had like 61 receptions over the last 2 years, so he's a decent receiver. But Zay Flowers is going to get a ton of looks this year, so I think he could be. I don't know if I'd say top 15, but maybe top 20.
I think I have
Talk
him
to me-
ranked 23 going into the year. But yeah.
Talk to me about the Steelers. We haven't mentioned them at all.
They're a weird fantasy case. I guess like Pickens has high upside. I think Pickens is in the same tier as McLaurin and Flowers and these guys because of his upside. And there's people out there that would tell you he's like a star in hiding due to the quarterback situation that he's had over the last couple of years. Some tape dogs who love what he does on film. But Najee, I'm really low on the running back duo, and because they're both there, I'm kind of low on both of them. So I won't end up with Warren or Najee. What I will say about the Steelers, the only Steeler I'll end up with is maybe in the end of the draft, I'll throw a dart on Justin Fields in a deep league and roster him as a third quarterback. Because if Justin Fields plays, he is a top 10 fantasy quarterback. That's just what it is due to his rushing. So hope you just got to root for Russell Wilson to be terrible or get hurt, and Justin Fields will be a starting fantasy quarterback.
I wouldn't hate a dart on Freiermuth later in the draft.
Okay, okay.
Justin Fields has shown the proclivity to throw
That's
the tight
true.
ends.
That's true.
And Freiermuth just gets he's a target vacuum as well. So I think you could start Freiermuth pretty much every week as your tight end one if you want. I think he'll get that much volume this year.
I think he's a great player prop target because he gets because his lines at the end of the year were like super low. They were like around like 35, 38 yards. I think that's worth a flyer. And who they have week 1?
What's the saying? Hold on, real quick. I'm about to make my pick here, and it's a polarizing one. And Sean Bernard told me don't fall for it, but fool me once, shame on me. Fool me twice, shame on you. Fool me, can't get fooled again. We're going Kyle Pitts. We're going Kyle Pitts. It's the year. This is the year, fellas. This is the year. Kyle Pitts. Kirk Cousins is here to save the day. Is here to save his career. People forget Kyle Pitts had 1,000 yards his rookie year. That was the last time he had a competent quarterback.
Seems like for a long time ago.
It was a long time ago. It was a long time ago. We're not going to talk about that, though. What we're going to talk about is the fact that he's had the worst quarterback play in the NFL since that year. You looking at the last couple of years, he had the most unguardable targets at the tight end position, or uncatchable targets at the tight end position last year, and he was like not top 7 in targets. So that's a pretty unbelievable stat. He's just had such a horrible offense. I have Kyle Pitts ranked as my tight end 3 going into this year. So, but like I said, there's no separation. There's no separation from tight end 3 to tight end 8 for me.
Don't forget about Zach Robinson too.
Yes, that's a great point, Dives. Zach Robinson's been emphasizing the big problem with Kyle Pitts, or not the big problem. One of the problems with Kyle Pitts is people look at him and they go, oh my God, he's got all these receiver tools at the tight end spot. Let's line him up out wide. And then you throw a corner on him and he gets treated like a receiver. He's not like an elite wide receiver, but the trick of it is if you line him up on linebackers, you line him up on safeties, then you get to actually use why he's an elite athlete at his position. So he's not going up against corners anymore. And his quarterback wasn't able to get him the ball on kind of contested catches. So I think it's going to be big. Zach Robinson. I think the stat was only 20% of his routes in his career have been run against linebackers. It's 20, 30. It's something in that range. And that's shockingly low for a tight end. I think they've used him out wide far too much.
Joe Burrow off the board next.
At this point, I've seen Joe Burrow go a lot earlier.
Yeah.
At this point, it's not that crazy. I prefer Dak, Kyler, and Love to Burrow this year, but they're all in a very similar tier. Stroud's in that tier as well for me. I would go Dak, Kyler, Stroud, Love, Burrow for fantasy this year. That would kind of be my ranking of those 5.
I know Joe Burrow has shown the ability to bounce back from a ton of injuries already. It does really hang over my head the fact that a pitcher or quarterback has never had the injury that he's currently dealing with the ligament in his wrist. As far as football players, it's only been inside linemen.
Joe Burrow's a bit of a handsome merchant. I'll say it. I think a lot of he's a little bit of a handsome merchant. Joe Burrow gets more credit for doing less than every other top quarterback in the NFL. Josh Allen, he's a loser. Lamar Jackson, he's a loser. Jalen Hurts, he's a loser. How many rings does Joe Burrow have? He's a winner though. He's a dog. He's moxie. He's Mamba mentality. It's a little bit of he averaged 19 points per game in a Super Bowl run, and we all treat him like he's Joe Montana, and he lost in the Super Bowl. I think this is actually just more of an NFL take.
Hey, very few go into Kansas City and win. Very few.
Yeah, it's true.
He's got that.
It's he won 24-20. Yeah.
Damn.
No, I'm just saying it's not like he went in there and put up 38. His defense was fantastic in that Super Bowl run, and people acted like Joe Burrow put them on their back and was like a one-man army going to the Super Bowl. But Jalen Hurts, when Jalen Hurts went to the Super Bowl, it was, he's just got so many great players around him, and he didn't do anything. By the way, Jalen Hurts played a lot better in the Super Bowl he lost than Joe Burrow played in the Super Bowl he lost, but that's another conversation. Evan Ingram, by the way, love that pick so much. Kyle Pitts and Evan Ingram are neck and neck for me. I have Ingram in 2 other leagues, so any kind of decision making there, that's my first share of Kyle Pitts this year. But love that pick by Slash. I think it's a great value. By the way, also love that pick by Bernard with Keenan Allen. I think there's a chance Keenan Allen has been written off far too early. Keenan Allen was unbelievable last year, and nobody realizes it.
he was like, I think it was he wide receiver 7?
Yeah. Borderline elite talent, gets a clear upgrade at the quarterback position, going from Justin Herbert to Caleb Williams here. I think we see Keenan Allen back in the top wide receiver race this season.
Yeah, in terms of just points per game, like pure points per game, he missed 4 games. He was wide receiver 3. He was like 21 and a half points per game. Like he got a ton of targets because those LA wide receivers are trash. But I mean, like he was very productive last year.
And Easton Stick was throwing the ball for 6 of those games too, or how many ever of those games.
Shout out.
So people, I mean, there's the rumors that he's fat in camp. I think that those have been dispelled a little bit now. But it's shocking to me how people have kind of thrown him away in the trash a little bit. I'm just saying, folks, this is the craziest take I'll give on this podcast. Everybody get ready. Crack your knuckles. Crack your knuckles. But I think there's a chance we're looking like week 8, week 9, and DJ Moore is the 3rd most talented receiver in that Bears receiver room because Rome Odunze is that talented and that good. I know Dibes is with me on that. We loved Odunze that entire draft process. I like Odunze more than Neighbors, just as a pure wide receiver talent. I think Odunze is a better player.
We both had him higher.
Yeah, we both had him higher than Neighbors in the pre-draft process. And I think there's a chance where he completely booms into the guy that we thought he was in the pre-draft process, even though he's a wide receiver 3 right now. And even though Moore's the number 1, Keenan Allen was better than Moore was last year in a worse situation. And I know, he's ingratiating into a new situation while Moore was there last year, but it's a new quarterback. So Caleb Williams, it's not like he was throwing Moore the ball last year. So he kind of gets to develop his own rapport with all 3 guys. There's a chance that, all 3 guys hurt all 3 guys, but if any of the 3 get hurt, the other 2 are going to be extremely elite.
Guys, guys, before I run, can I get Mark to give a quick grade on my team so far?
Yeah. Let's pull it up.
How bad is my team, man?
No, I feel like I've liked your picks. Let me pull it up here. All right. We got in the first round, you went with Justin Jefferson, which I thought was an absolute steal, going like in the late part of the first round. I don't know what kind of idiots we're drafting with in this league, but no, I'm joking. But second pick here, Jahmyr Gibbs. I like that pick a lot. He's very much kind of right in that range for me. 3rd round, DK Metcalf. 4th round, Debo. Yeah, I like this team a lot, Dives. This team gets what's the Costco guys? Boom!
Oh my lord!
It's a boom! No, I'm joking, but I think it's like an A-, like B+, A-. You have 3 stud receivers. I think it's 3 of my top 18 receivers. Jahmyr Gibbs, a top 10 running back. Ramondre's a top 20 running back. I'm a little lower on Burrow. I might have waited on quarterback a little bit more. Maybe got a tight end or stocked up on running back, but I really like this team.
Awesome, man. Thanks for having me, guys.
You the man. Rock spot.
By the way, tomorrow night, I think it airs on Thursday. Never mind. Thursdays, Dibes and I every week with Shane Haff and Ryan Reese, we do our Armchair Scouts podcast where we preview the upcoming week in college football with a little bit of a different angle, an NFL draft angle. We talk about players to watch for the Eagles, and we pick what player we think is going to have the biggest game that week. So everybody check that out on the Eagles Pimple Network. Armchair Scouts, Dibes and I killing it over there.
All right, go Birds.
Nice.
Go Birds.
Go Birds.
And as one goes, one comes in. We got
What's
Luke
going on, gentlemen? What's going on?
Luke, bottom of the 9th, one out. How we feeling? 2-2 game here.
Feel great.
Feel great.
Yeah,
all right.
Not a single doubt on this baseball team at all right now. You know what I mean?
By the way,
Look at them on the top step.
Timeout, Sean Brace. You have to break out that list of the worst picks because the worst pick in the draft by far was just made. Taking the Jets defense in the 6th round is special, man. That's another level. That's another level, fellas. That's another level, folks. That's another level of bad. I don't have words. I'm not.
Boys, what's
Joe?
How we feeling? I've been kind of all over the place the last hour. How we feeling?
Feeling great. And by the way, to give him the call out, Joe does look to be on auto pick, but he deserves that selection for being an auto pick.
No. If he's on auto pick, I'm gonna undo that.
I was gonna say we're gonna let him do it.
Right. Nah, I'll undo that. That's crazy.
I think that's user error personally.
I don't know. I'll resume it. Sorry about that, folks.
Don't apologize for that sound.
I love it.
Oh, it auto drafted Jets defense again anyway.
He just wants that defense.
I don't know.
Just let him have it.
Yeah, let him have it.
I mean, look, if
It's
you
all
auto
good.
draft the Jets defense in the 6th round, like that's on you.
I agree.
I tried. I did my duty. I tried.
Yeah,
I wouldn't have even tried. I would just like,
Yeah.
Maybe
That's a bad pick.
maybe he just loves the
Tansy.
Jets defense.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's made
Yeah.
cute.
He's actually
You
in the
gotta queue it
comments
up. You
going,
gotta
"What
queue it
the f?" No, I'm
Just a
kidding.
huge Hassan Reddick guy.
What I will say is Dak Prescott was an absolute steal there by Jeremy. So Dak Prescott's a guy who I thought I would end up with in a ton of leagues this year. Haven't ended up with him in one. So that's just how it goes at the quarterback position. But Dak, I think I have Dak as my QB5. I think he's going to be a top 5 QB this year. He's been just remarkably consistent. He was incredible last year from a fantasy perspective. I don't really see any reason that's going to change.
Yeah, I've now, I think this is my third draft. I've ended up with Lamar Jackson. I'm in every single one.
You need a jersey. I'll send you my Louisville.
I had
Lamar
pick
jersey.
12, pick 6, and pick 4, and I got Lamar at all of them. So I mean, I'm not
got
really
Lamar-
complaining. I want some sort of different quarterback maybe in my last league, but I mean, I'm not.
You got
complaining.
Lamar at a great value in this league.
Yeah.
By the way, we were talking about Zamir White. Are you a Zamir head?
Yeah. I mean, now that he's on my team, I guess I kind of have to be. But yeah. Oh, I'm on the clock. Speaking of that, sorry, boys.
My mom just texted me and informed me Joel is at the Phillies game.
He
Yeah,
is
he was just on
yeah,
screen.
yeah.
down
That's
in.
nice.
I believe he's down in just like the normal like seats too. Just
Yeah, he's not in the
Hang
suite.
out.
What a
down there.
gangster, man.
Man of the people.
That's Olympic gold medalist Joel Embiid.
Damn
That's
right.
a classic. That's a classic mom sports
Don't
text
bring
there.
Hey, look.
Kyler Murray, great pick there.
Who do I want?
Really like that Kyler Murray pick, TKO. I think he's got QB1 upside. Legitimately.
Mark,
could-
But still
I
hates
was
the Pacheco pick.
I was due to hit on one of them, right?
there you go. There you go. Wait, who'd you? Yeah. I really, really like that pick. I think Kyler could be
Good.
literally the best quarterback.
Somebody
in
has to
football.
catch the ball in Buffalo, right? I guess it's got to be Dalton
Uh-oh.
Kincaid.
Oh, okay. at this point.
Somebody's got to catch it.
It's got to be Dalton Kincaid, right? He's got to catch some footballs. Hey, if I'm in the hunt for the playoffs week 12, you can just kiss that week goodbye. A lot of buys week 12, but
I'm gonna
I'm
assume
of
with
the
really, who cares?
opinion-
Honestly, hopefully I won't.
Yeah, I'm of the opinion that I just don't care about buys. I think you could argue that not having or having them all on 1 week is good. I think you could argue that having it spread out is good. I just kind of pick the team I'm going to pick, and the only thing I look at is for backup quarterback.
Yeah, I was in another league and a few weeks ago, and this guy he was drafting, and he was just honestly just had a pretty solid team, but he didn't realize that I think 7 of his 9 starters were all like week 12. It was like all the same buy. So it was basically like if he is like in the hunt, he's gonna have to waiver just about an entire team week 12 to like basically have a team on the field.
I guess the later buys do now present a little bit more of a question with that
Yeah.
nowadays. Jordan Love, good pick. I guess I missed that. I missed this tier of quarterbacks, so I'm officially waiting on quarterback here. So that's fine. I'm fine with that. But round 7 we're in. Jalen Warren there to Sean Bernard. Jalen Warren didn't take you to be a Jalen Warren guy, Sean Bernard. What's that about?
Don't love him, but I have a couple wide receivers I'm eyeing on the comeback here. So I felt better about locking up a third running back there. I feel like Jalen Warren was the best option. I don't hate Najee Harris as much as I think his reputation gets made, but I do think Warren's going to kind of elevate to be that number 1 back in Pittsburgh. They're both going to be involved for sure, but decide to roll with him here.
Bernard, which receivers are you looking at?
It's a great question, Dan.
Fill the beans.
I think there's a good amount of receivers sitting on the board here.
There are.
I'm not picking a wide receiver. I'm just like I'm not.
Yeah.
I'll say there's
There's a
multiple.
lot of
I
good
would
wide
feel
receivers still.
Yeah, there's
Yeah,
multiple I would feel
definitely.
comfortable with.
Who would they be?
in order.
Miko
In order,
Hardman.
who's your favorite
1
1 through 3 here?
I haven't seen a Quez Watkins selection yet. I
Joe
have
said,
him lined up,
sorry,
yeah.
Sean. Joe said
Yeah,
his
yeah.
phone died.
Greg Ward.
I'd
Yeah,
actually
Uh,
take Jeremy.
no.
I actually would take Jeremy Bloom over both.
But I don't understand the phone dying thing. The ESPN wouldn't auto draft the Jets defense. So it's like something with this Q. He must have had the Jets
Brian
defense
Adams,
in it.
dude.
Yeah.
Tell you, he just really likes the Jets.
By the way, for anyone listening and watching the Phillies, 10th inning, man on second. No out.
Yeah, sorry, Joe. You got the Jets defense. We did what we could, but it's
And
all good.
49ers.
And the Niners defense.
Wait, he has both?
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh,
Shut up.
Oh, I wasn't in here for the Niners one.
I didn't know that happened.
Oh no!
So he took the Niners in the 5th?
Back to back.
Oh, good
Oh,
lord.
jeez.
Yo, he's got
No.
the only person on his bench right now is the 49ers
Hey, look.
defense.
And let me just say this in Joe's defense. Shout out, he's in. It sucks they went back-to-back defenses, but I did hit him today. It was like, yo, if you want, it'd be great to have you. So he was squeezing us in. We appreciate that. But you got
Yes,
2
yeah.
defenses.
Yikes.
Mark, I want to get your thoughts on this whole running back thing right now. I like every draft, I feel like I've had the choice of one of the two, and I just can't
is
tell who's going to be the one, if there is even going to be a one. Like, what are
What was
they
the-
doing in Tennessee?
What backfield? Oh, Tennessee.
Tennessee.
I'm pretty low on the Tennessee backfield. I won't end up with any of them. I definitely won't end up with Pollard. I think Pollard's half past cooked if I had to make the guess there. But I think Tyjae Spears has some upside there. I was talking about it earlier. I am steering clear of that entire offense. Like,
It's just
I-
weird though, because like they're like it
That's
seems
Hopkins,
like
maybe.
it's just so split. Like they're projected
Yeah.
the same amount. Like it's they haven't really said like a true like RB1. Like
I would lean Spears.
yeah, I've taken Spears the one time that I've had to take one of them, but
I just went with Javonte. He's being
pick.
drafted as running back 30. I am as running back 19. I'm really in on Javonte. He's going at 105.6 on ESPN ADP. I think that's crazy. Over the last 10 weeks, last year, he averaged 13 fantasy points per game on 20 and a half touches per game. They didn't really change anything. Like, they have a different quarterback, but they added Roger Estimate late in the draft. He hasn't been that good in preseason anyway. They're cutting Samaje Perine. I think Javonte Williams, there's a chance that he is the best post-hype sleeper in fantasy football this year. Because he was being drafted where last year? Second round? Third round?
Yeah.
I feel like he was going really high. I could be wrong. Maybe I'm thinking 2 years ago. But I feel like he was at one point a really, really kind of exciting, young name that the fantasy community was all in on. He wasn't that bad last year. And I know that offense isn't going to be very good, but I think that there's absolutely he's going to be the running back.
anybody else just watch that Rojas catch in center field?
I did
Oh
not.
no!
I had to rewind it.
1, 2, 3 inning for Matt Strahm going to the bottom.
He
half.
is nails.
Dude,
nails
Rojas,
Matt Strahm.
Rojas made an awesome catch in center too.
Did he throw up
That
the
would have
X?
been a run.
Yeah, it did.
He did throw up. Yeah.
Oh, there we go.
Put your X
Love
in
to
the
hear
air.
So we should crotch chop tonight. Kid Joel show.
Yeah, that'd be great. A little synergy.
That would be.
What are the
Right
odds,
now-
Nick Picone? What are the odds Johan Rojas knows what Degeneration X is?
Less than 0.
Yeah.
I want to pick this guy, but I don't want to get roasted by Mark Henry Jr.
He's
I'm
gonna
really
do it
nervous.
anyway, so you might as well just do it.
Yeah, I mean, what's
No,
going to stop him?
He
Take
he
your
hates his own
time.
picks.
All right, so
Uh-oh,
this is
uh-oh,
definitely a pick that 100% like you just can't give it up. You got to go back to it. Like I believe your Kyle Pitts pick. I'm doing it.
No, I don't like it, but I get the upside.
I don't like it.
I wouldn't have said. I wouldn't if you didn't. If you didn't cue me up, I probably wouldn't even have said anything. I would have just been
Okay.
like, oh, okay. He's
That's incredible.
I don't like it.
they,
Most
so
predictable answer ever.
they said that apparently his one leg has so much more muscle in it than the other leg, and that's why his other leg keeps getting hurt. They say they fixed it. They say that they've added muscle to the other leg, subtracted muscles to the other leg. They're doing all this yoga, all these balance things to get Christian
Oh,
Watson to
Lord.
stay healthy. If Christian Watson stays healthy, maybe he's kind of the exciting guy that I kept Christian Watson in a league last year in a high stakes league because I was really high on the upside. So I get it. There's no denying what he can be. I'm a little bit scared. They just have so many receivers there.
Yeah, talk to me about the Packers, guys, because I mean, last year it was kind of just like Jordan Love's they're pulling receivers off the practice squad, and Jordan Love's having success with them. Like, what does this offense look like? Just in forget the fantasy perspective. What the hell does the Packers offense look like?
I'll let Roy
At
start.
best,
I'm on the
what they
clock
did
here.
against Dallas, right? I mean,
Right.
that was incredible. That was a great game by them, and I mean, they believe in them.
Come on.
Yeah,
Trey.
I think they have like I think Reed and Watson are your best two guys, and I think the other two guys slide in below them. But I mean, I think it's kind of like a potpourri. Like I think any of those guys could
Good
be fairly
word.
productive.
Good
this year.
word.
It's a great
I
word.
mean,
It's a great word.
Yeah, it's like they have four pretty talented young receivers. I don't think
Do
anybody's
I-
going to be a 95 catch guy, but I mean,
Should
like,
I-
I think they'll all be fairly productive.
Should I draft Christian Kirk or Xavier Worthy? Let's pull the room.
Ooh.
I think both of them are bad picks.
I like that.
I don't
Uh,
like
You're getting incredibly bad value on both of them at this point in the draft. So why don't you just
Like
make
that.
your pick, because it's the 8th round and you're running the clock down to 0.
That's funny.
Yeah. Yeah.
As someone drafting behind you, I would say Christian Kirk. If you want my
Yeah.
honest opinion, Xavier Worthy.
I'll do the fun thing. I'll take Worthy.
There you go.
Dunzay's a
Yeah.
fun pick too. Dunzay
That's
would have
a
been
fun
my
pick.
third name there. I had a Dunzay right behind Kirk and Worthy.
Wow, did you skip
Yeah.
Odunze?
Yeah, I know. I did.
Wow.
I
He
did.
he talked all that about Odunze being the
What?
best receiver in Chicago.
No, I said he could be, but I also said Keenan
Okay.
Allen. I said I love Keenan Allen too. I'm conflicted on
DJ
that.
Moore could be wide receiver 3 by mid-season, Mark.
That was my hot take. I'm not saying it's
This is like
going
a half
to
an hour
happen.
ago.
I was saying it was my hot take. But I also said earlier in the show, if you don't recall, Roy, you said that you have Rashee Rice clearing ahead as the wide receiver 1 there in that Chiefs
I
offense.
do.
I think all three of the guys have a chance to be the wide receiver 1, really, truly. So if you're the wide receiver 1 in a Patrick Mahomes offense, that's kind of the shot I'm taking. So I'm higher on Odunze as a talent than Worthy,
fair.
but I think there's a little less competition. Keenan Allen, and I guess I would take Keenan Allen and DJ Moore over Rashee Rice and Hollywood Brown in terms of how many targets they'd get. But by the way, I'm not passionate about this at all. I have them back to back. So like, I could have easily taken Odunze. I actually have Kirk ahead of those guys, but there's something about Christian Kirk when you go
Get
to,
through.
when you go to draft. Oh, we
Go,
did
go,
it!
go. Turn the Jets on. Come on, baby.
I'm ahead of you, Luke. We won.
Hey, guys,
I'm
we
way
won.
behind you guys. We just scored.
Dude,
There you go.
the funniest part about
Hater.
Joel
See
Embiid,
ya, pal.
the funniest part about Embiid at these games, every time they go to him, he's recording the game. Like he himself is recording everything on his phone. Like
And
I
you know
love
he
Joel,
watched
man.
them too. You know
this dude's got to be spamming
loud
his
as hell. The
Instagram
thing
story
is
right
loud
now.
as hell, and he's watching on the couch. You know he goes back and watches these games. I love it.
All right, so
That is
now I
great.
feel like Harper home run tomorrow has to be a play.
Slash keeps taking the guy that I was gonna take in the pick before. Like he keeps taking like I'm this or that guy, and he takes the guy. Christian Kirk, great pick there from Slash. in my
Austin
opinion.
Eckler is
Good
so
pick. Very good pick.
washed.
Christian Kirk is one of those guys. Weirdly enough, though, when it comes time to pick Christian Kirk, you find other avenues.
It's true.
It's like
You talk yourself out of it.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
like, do I really have him ranked above Xavier Worthy? Is that really what I did?
Yeah, and I kept the streak rolling with 3 straight rookies there going. Keon Coleman, who I love out in Buffalo this year. Somebody's got to step up and replace Stephon Diggs. And I want Keon Coleman to be good more than I've ever wanted like any rookie ever.
I'm out on Coleman.
Of course you are.
I feel like I've said I'm in on more picks than I said I'm out on.
Can I have a question? Just a general knowledge question here. We're in the 9th round.
General Knowledge Tuesday.
How,
No.
Mark Henry Jr., how do you
Whoa, we're
keep your
bigger
takes
now.
organized in your head?
How do you follow 15 sports? I follow 2 sports and I'm passionate about them. I'm not following La Liga and the MLS and F1 and the Olympics and
I'm well-rounded.
You are. I'm not. I'm extremely narrow. And I'm
It just
I'm
astonishes
extremely-
me that you have this many takes.
If I listened to a podcast with you talking about the soccer transfer portal, I would my brain would fall apart.
It's a
Joe
transfer
Jonesy.
market. Portals and college,
Dang.
college sports. Hey,
I
now.
already want to shoot myself in the head. I probably can't say that on Twitter.
Hey Mark,
let's-
if
yeah.
you want to introduce our listening audience that might be joining us after a great Phillies victory. What round are we in? Hello?
Who are we
round
introducing?
8.
Who are we introducing?
I just
What we're doing?
No, I just reshared it on socials. My bad.
Oh, yeah. Fantasy football draft live right now. In a couple rounds, we'll start going around the league, I think, and grading the picks here. But we've got the big brains from the Fox Sports The Gambler crew. I'm hating on all the picks. Everybody hates me. It's okay. But we've got Roy Burton here. We've got Nick Pacone. We've got TKO. We've got Luke Arcani. We've got Joe Tansey, Sean Bernard, and the Godfather Sean Brace up there with Joel behind him. He was at the Phillies game, but he's behind Sean Brace all of a sudden. So back to the picks. David Njoku goes to Jeremy. I think that's a little early for Njoku. Tyjae Spears to Luke. We were just talking about Spears. Devin Singletary to TKO. I mean, hey, someone's got to do something in New York. TKO's cornering the New York Giants. Do you have neighbors as well?
No, I'm not a neighbors guy. I got Brees. I got Brees and
Neighbors.
Sanchez, so I got
I
the
have
Bucs.
neighbors.
Tansey has neighbors. Tansey has
You
neighbors.
roasted me for that.
I did roast you for that. But neighbor, like I said, though, neighbors went later in this draft than I think every other draft I've been in. So you picked neighbors late. I hated your neighbors pick less than the neighbors pick I've hated in every league I've been in. So Jake Ferguson, that is a great
That's
pick,
the nicest
in my
thing
opinion.
anybody's ever said to me in a fantasy football draft, Mark. Talk dirty to me.
With that
I'll
being
ask-
said, he's gonna hate your next pick. So
I'll ask this question to Roy.
Yes, sir.
Am I wrong for being? Oh, I love. So Roy just made a pick I hated, and then a pick I absolutely loved. Zach Moss was mine. Zach Moss was my number one guy on my queue. I would have been desperate for him to fall back to me. The Deontay Johnson thing. I love Deontay Johnson as a player. I've loved him since Pittsburgh. I think he's so talented. I am terrified of the Panthers receivers.
And you should be. You should be. But
Yes,
again,
okay.
somebody
He's-
has
he's
to
very
catch these
good.
passes. Somebody has to catch these passes. It's him or Adam Thielen. I mean, that's it. Like, that's really it, Carolina.
Xavier Legette, is he going to cut into anything?
Okay, maybe.
him.
All right, maybe a little bit. But I mean, like, I'm just hoping that just on sheer target volume, like Deontay Johnson to be a competent wide receiver 3, wide receiver 4. That's all it is.
I'm just so scared of the Deontay's so talented. So I guess
He's very good, but
he
that's a bad
gets so much
quarterback, so
separation.
Yeah.
Yeah, it really is. Although Bryce Young did look good in the preseason the other day, right? I saw people talking about that. People were excited about that third preseason game. Bryce Young,
better
Yeah.
than Trey Lance. Yeah,
Oof.
better than Trey Lance.
Jaden Reed, great pick. Great pick. Jaden Reed is the number one Packers receiver, in my opinion. We were talking about that earlier.
I mean-
I didn't want to say it because I wanted to take Jaden Reed potentially, but yeah, I really like Jaden Reed.
Number
the
10
one
wide
thing-
receiver down the stretch last year. I think like last 7 games or so. And if Watson gets hurt again based on his too much muscular in one leg,
Whoa.
The one, yeah, exactly. There you go. The one thing I'm worried about is when Reed has played with Watson, he hasn't been very good. So Watson really hurts Reed. So that's my concern. But when Watson's been out, Reed's been so good. Like I find it hard to believe Green Bay won't be able to figure out a way to incorporate him on the field when Watson's out there. With now they have a full off season with them together. So I'm kind of choosing to project a little bit there. I can admit that. But I love Jaden Reed as a talent. Austin Eckler, I'm not a fan. I think he's cooked.
I love it. I'll stick up for Eckler. I
know you love him. You
the
love him.
Jaden Daniels check down to Austin Eckler. They're gonna
Sure.
feed families this year.
I just think he just looked so slow last year. Like I don't know.
Yeah,
Like
that's where I'm at.
I just can't imagine he's gonna get any quicker. Like I just feel like he looked bad last year.
That's where I'm at too, and I don't want to be there. That's where
Oh,
I'm at.
up. Oh my god, I'm up. Oops.
Ring the bell. What a
My
win.
fault, boys.
What a
Ring
win.
that bell, brother.
And under stays under the total.
I hate that pick
Luke,
so
under the total tonight. Phillies.
Under
I don't
the
mind
total.
it. I like that pick, Luke. I like that pick from Jeremy too.
I didn't know I was on the clock and I had like 7 seconds left.
I like the lad pick. He was
I-
near the
I
top of
know.
my queue here.
Once
was-
again,
I-
somebody has to catch passes in Los Angeles.
Exactly.
Yeah,
Somebody's
I
got
think
to do
it's
it.
him. I think it's him. I do think
From
it's
that
him.
really good quarterback, Justin Herbert.
Wait, he must have been drafted rounds ago, right? With the way
Yeah,
he's
where's-
talked about.
Where's John Jansen at?
he
I
must
wanna-
have-
Yeah,
he-
Jansen's not in.
He must have
Yeah.
been drafted in the 5th round, right? Or 4th round.
John Jansen, who with a completely straight face told us Justin Herbert is the best, most talented quarterback in the NFL just last year.
Ooh.
I don't think he said best. He might have said most talented.
I think
No,
he's the
that's
most
That's
talented.
Trevor Lawrence.
Yeah, I thought he's.
Yeah, he's Trevor Lawrence's type guy.
Herbert, he's
Apparently,
certainly
He
Apparently
only he's
Yeah, nah,
he's only a Herbert.
he's
He's only a Herbert hype guy when he's around me and Bernard because we hate Herbert so much.
Gotcha.
And it's so funny because I felt like one of my like defining things at the Gambler was like I was the Justin Herbert hater and like everyone yelled at me like we put out the reels last year. Sean Bernard takes it to a level that even I get uncomfortable with sometimes. Even I'm like, all right, he's a starting
I'm
quarterback,
saying
Sean.
something.
Like, I'm like, he's a starting quarterback. Like, I'm joking. But
If you
Sean-
made a
Sean's
top
being the-
32 quarterbacks list, would he be on it, Sean?
he's a top 32 quarterback. I'll give into that
I'm
one.
joking. I'm joking. Sean's lower on him than even I am, and it's shocking because I think I'm one of the lowest like people that watches football at the level that we do that is as low on Justin Herbert as I am. So I talked about Joe Burrow getting a lot of credit for things he's done. At least he's done things.
Yeah.
You know, like at least he's won a playoff game. At least he's went 10-7. At least he's. I don't know. I don't want to get into a whole Justin Herbert thing. We'll do it when he gets drafted in the 15th round. Jordan Addison goes there. I love that Jordan Addison pick. Tony Pollard, not that big of a fan. Brock Bowers. Let's talk about Brock Bowers. I think there's a chance. What are the
huge
odds?
Brock Bowers guy.
What are the odds Brock Bowers is just Sam Laporta part 2?
Yeah,
Definitely.
they were using him all over. I listened to an interview and the guy said that man, they got him coming out of the backfield. They're handing the ball off to him. Apparently, he's a massive human being, even in the NFL. So, and he's like, that's what he kept on saying. He's like, man, you just don't see people that big and move that fast. So
And
we'll see.
So I'm going to take a splashy pick here, and I'm very happy about it. Waited on quarterback all the way to pick 105, and I locked it. I think I said it on Sean Brace's show months ago. 80-1, I have a ticket on to win the MVP. He'd be the first rookie to ever do it at the quarterback position. But Caleb Williams, give me
Love
Caleb Williams. I think the upside there is obvious, and I think the people last year who tried to be like, "Are we sure about Caleb Williams? That team is 7-5," and you figure out, football for a second. Go watch the games. Go watch last year and tell me Caleb Williams wasn't just as incredible last year on the field on tape as he was when everyone thought he was, the best thing since sliced bread. The hot take community that surrounded him last year was insane. But now it seems like everybody has kind of congregated back after watching him in the preseason a bit, watching him in training camp, and it's like, oh yeah, this guy's really talented. And it's like, yeah, he is. I'm all in.
Yeah, I was one of those. I would consider myself a Justin Fields truther, not a Caleb Williams hater here. I've
You
come
weren't.
around.
Yeah, you weren't.
I still think Fields will play at least. It won't be the start of the year, but he will finish the season as the Steelers quarterback, and I still think that says
I
just
hope so.
as much about Russell Wilson as anything that it hasn't happened yet.
I hope so. I really hope so. Chase Brown, love that pick. Love that pick by Picone.
Good pick.
It's every pick. Every pick Picone makes.
Appreciate that.
Good pick.
Every pick you make.
Don't could do no wrong.
Adam Thielen, I'll hold my thoughts.
I think it's a little early, Brace. A little early. I like Thielen. I think it's a little early.
I'll
I'm
hold my-
firing. He was a machine.
He was really good for the first 10 weeks last year. I will give you credit, even in a
He's a
terrible offense.
machine.
And maybe he's the guy who has the most rapport with him. I think Deontay's just so much more talented and Legette's more talented, but I'm scared of all three, to be clear. Someone's going to be good, I'm sure. I'm so scared of that Panthers entire operation.
All right, and I'm gonna go with this guy. Right now I'm thinking between Joshua Palmer,
I like that.
Gabe Davis,
I like that.
or
Davis
Jameson
good.
Williams.
I'm lower on Williams than most, but I like the other two a lot.
Yeah, I think Davis is the best out of the three for me. But
Who was the other name? Davis, Williams, and who?
Palmer, Joshua Palmer.
Palmer.
Yeah, I'd probably go Davis.
All right, Davis it is.
I have. This is actually the first league that I'm in that I haven't ended up with Gabe Davis. I have him in each of my other 3 leagues. I think that there's just someone. It's kind of like I think there's upside there in that passing offense of Jacksonville for somebody. Oh, I thought I was up. Never mind. I was just about to announce who I was picking because I saw Pacone was green on the screen. And I got confused with myself.
It's going to be another award-winning pick by Nick Pacone.
Mark, who you pick?
Oh,
Who
I
you
love
picking
this
in the
pick,
10th round?
Nick. I
There
love
it
Brian
is.
Thomas
Of course
Jr.
we do.
I love Brian Thomas Jr. I was just saying, there's upside in this Jags passing offense. I was just saying it. Someone's gonna step up into a role. It could be Thomas, could be Gabe. Oh, Tansy, that's who I was picking. No,
Yeah,
not
that's a good
even,
pick. That's a good pick,
not
Tansy.
even just saying, saying it. That was who I was picking with this pick.
He was
now
a dog last year.
I have to scramble a little bit.
I mean, look, you've been praising Pacone, but I haven't heard a peep from you since I
that's a
neighbors
fantastic.
in the 4th round.
No, I think I liked the pick. I think I liked the pick of yours a couple rounds ago, but I love that pick. I should have taken him over Caleb Williams, apparently.
I was taking Caleb Williams if you didn't.
Okay, that's good then. Am I gonna do some? Am I gonna be someone I hate?
Uh-oh.
How long's Hawkinson out for?
I don't know actually.
He's still on PUP, right? Or no? I thought he was.
I mean, he tore his ACL week 16 last year, so it's
Yikes.
gotta be a little bit. All right.
It's saying 3 to 7 regular season games, so wide window.
That's
from August.
quite the range.
Three to 7.
That's either not going on the pup or being out for half of the year.
Yeah.
I've never heard that diagnosis before. 3 to 7. Jeez.
I'm struggling. Damn you, Joe Tansy. I will go
Always
with.
have a backup prepared.
Yeah, I didn't. I will go ahead and take the guy I end up with in every league, I guess. I'll. No, actually, Audible, Omaha.
Uh-oh.
Hot route.
Hot route.
Omaha.
I'm going. I was just in Omaha. I'm going Curtis Samuel. Everyone, when I said earlier that I'm lower on Keon Coleman, a little bit maybe skeptical about Dalton Kincaid. I think the guy that's getting underrated in that offense is Curtis Samuel. I think there's a chance he really steps up. Dallas Goedert, Zeke.
Could not have told you what team Curtis Samuel was on.
He's been on a lot of them.
If you gave me 10 tries, I would not have guessed.
I'm
the
dead
Bills.
serious. I think you could give me 25 tries, and I don't think I would get it.
He's
absolutely
new.
no shot.
He just went.
I mean,
there
how many
this year,
teams has he played for?
Carolina, Washington, Buffalo. I think there's another one. I think there's another one in there.
At least
Is there
5.
another? I thought there was one in between Carolina and Washington.
I don't think so. I don't think so.
I wonder
No.
who the
2017
No, that's
Carolina,
that's
22
yeah.
Washington.
Okay.
four teams. I wonder what active player has played for the most teams.
The Ish
Probably
Smith
like
of the NFL.
Probably like a
Is
punter. It's
Is
probably
this
like a punter.
Jason Peters still around?
That's a good guess.
By the way, we had some oldies but goodies there that round. Curtis Samuel, Zeke,
I mean, what?
Jacoby Myers. I guess Dallas
Jason
Goddard's
Peters.
kind of an oldie but a goodie now.
Zeke, I think
Yeah.
it's so cooked, but I still think he's going to get touches, so I'll just give
Oh,
it a
I
shot.
agree. I
Yeah.
thought
I
about
don't hate
Zeke.
that.
where I thought about Zeke.
Jason Peters went to Chicago after he played for the Eagles.
He did.
I-
Yeah.
Yes, he also went to Dallas.
Keep
But
raking up
I-
those false starts, brother.
I remember Dallas. I didn't remember Chicago.
When I said, "Am I going to be the person that I hate?" That question was in relation to Brock Purdy. Was I gonna take Brock Purdy to pair with Caleb Williams, and I decided to be a better person than that.
Oh, I'm up again.
Also, it's just that there's a couple backup quarterbacks that are still on the board that I think I can get later. So
Yeah, I need to snag one as well. Can't rest easy on my Anthony Richardson laurels here.
no,
'cause,
definitely not. Definitely not. That's an interesting topic. Like, there's a couple quarterbacks that to me are a lot more important to back up pretty well, and that's Lamar Jackson. It's Anthony Richardson, and I'd say it's Jaden Daniels. If you take Jaden Daniels as your starter, we haven't seen it yet, but he's so skinny. I think you have to back him up with someone you feel confident with. Is there anybody else like that, Roy, that you feel like you have to get a nice backup?
Well, you mentioned Williams and Daniels, right? Yeah,
I didn't even mention Williams, but yeah, you can. He's not even being drafted as a starter, I think, or he might be being drafted as the last starter.
I
Is
don't
he?
think he is.
Or,
Oh, no,
you
I
don't
don't
think-
think he's- I don't think he is.
I don't
Nah.
think he is. Yeah.
No.
And Jaden Daniels, who you mentioned, Mark, we've talked about this, but he gets hit like a Looney Tunes character.
Oh, he
at
looks like a
times.
cartoon character. Yeah.
He like flails around.
Looks like it looks
Yeah.
like Elmer Fudd shot him with a gun that says "bang." Like it's legitimately crazy. He's to his credit, he gets up, and it was at the SEC level. But I'm scared. I'd be lying if I said I'm not scared about a couple hits he'll take. He's gonna have a hit he takes. I feel I actually really like the Commanders in Week 1 in terms of gambling, but I'm a little bit worried about him getting hurt in like the second quarter of that game because I think we're gonna have a hit in Week 1 that people are not ready to see because it happened like twice a game in college.
Yeah.
I think I have your answer on the active player who's played for the most teams.
Oh, look at that,
I
Tony
believe
Reale.
Calais Campbell.
Oh,
if he's
okay.
still active. He's this
think
is his
he-
fourth team.
I think he's a free agent, but I think he's
Calais Campbell
looking
has
for a
played
team.
for Arizona, Baltimore, Jacksonville, Atlanta. I think Jason Peters technically still active?
If Jason Peters is still active, you're right. He
Jason-
is. He is
If he's still active, then it's Jason Peters because Peters has played for 5.
Oh, you guys messed up, guys. You guys
It's
messed
Josh
up.
Johnson.
It's Josh Johnson.
Oh,
yeah.
there you
Yeah.
go. There you go. It's always Josh Johnson.
He's totally the Ish Smith of the NFL.
He's
That's
on his
perfect.
he's on his 14th team. He's the Ravens' backup this year.
That's disrespectful to Ish Smith. Oh my God!
Is
is
it?
one, too.
wow. Yeah. You know what? I'm looking. Yeah, that's a bad job by me because I went by
18.
games and then I went that way. You're right. And I'm
Dude, that is
Josh Johnson fell through the cracks. I have no idea how.
that
Brandon
is
Marshall
nuts.
played for 8 teams. Wow, I didn't realize he played for that many.
Dude, looking at Josh Johnson's football reference page, it's just 1 year, 1 year, 1 year, 1 year, 1 year, 1 year.
Guys naming dudes, by the way, is what's happening right
Dudes
now.
and dudes.
We got
And
into
the
that.
guy-
Josh
we got into
Johnson
that
didn't
at the
play
party the
last
other
year
night.
though.
I audibled out of J.K. Dobbins. My Omaha was from J.K. Dobbins into whoever I picked. I don't even remember. But
We got into that the other night at the bar. We were naming old 2000 to 2013 Eagles defenders, and we went for probably about an hour and a half.
yeah,
Guys being dudes, dude.
that is guys being dudes for sure. J.K. Dobbins goes there, and Gus goes a couple picks before. I like both shots. I think there's a chance both are fantasy relevant with how much Harbaugh wants to run the ball, but I think there's a chance one is like a top 15 back, and we just don't know who it is yet. Might be Kamadi Vidal, but no, it's probably going to be.
Nah,
It's probably going to
one
be
of the two.
Dobbins. It's probably going to be Dobbins if he's healthy.
What's
I
the
would
deal with
say
Chuba? What's Chuba's deal?
he's going to start early in the year. I think he's bad at football,
Okay.
but he's going to be
Well,
the starter. He's going to be the starter to start the year.
Miles
mean,
Sanders still kicking down there.
Miles Sanders stinks.
He absolutely stinks.
Stinks
He stinks at
out
football
loud.
harder.
Out loud.
Out loud.
Hollywood Brown's a great pick. Great pick. I was looking at
Very
Hollywood
good value
Brown
here.
right
Very
back
good value here.
Great value.
I swear, if someone like looked at my first half of the draft ratings versus the second half, you would think I'm cheating on a test because something changed.
My favorite part about fantasy drafts is when I'm looking at guys and I just completely forget that they're on a new team.
Yeah.
And I see Judy here in a Broncos uniform, and I'm like, I completely forgot that you're a Cleveland Brown now.
I'm jealous of that. That happens to me with fantasy baseball a little bit.
See, yeah, that's where we're the opposite. Football.
Yeah. It'll happen to me sometimes with fantasy baseball. I'm like, oh, that closer is. I'm trying to think of a closer who changes teams a lot.
Greg Kimbrell.
Greg Kimbrell.
yeah. We know where he is.
Talk about a guy who played for a lot of teams.
Josh Hader.
Hate it.
Josh Hader.
There's got to be an
By the
MLB
way-
player that has that.
By the
record.
way, Josh Hader has to wake up. Has to wake up and just have dreams of the nightmares of the Phillies. I feel like he's had so many bad experiences closing out games against the Phillies.
Huh.
Luke
Good win,
Arcani
by the
on
way.
the clock.
Great
Yeah,
win. from the Phils.
I'm back and forth between this like 5th to 6th wide receiver. I like this rookie from Indianapolis.
He's getting talked up big
Mitchell,
time.
yeah.
Yeah,
Sweet,
AD
welcome to the
Mitchell.
Nice to-
I'm
yeah.
I really liked him in the draft. I really like Mitchell in the pre-draft.
That's enough
I'm
for me.
skeptical. I'm scared of that passing offense, but the way he's getting talked about in training camp is like, oh my god, he might be better than Pittman. Like people
Oh,
are
shit.
saying,
Mark, talk to me about the Patriots.
they're bad. They're really
Bad.
bad.
Bad out loud.
Awful.
We haven't mentioned them at all tonight.
And
I
we
like
shouldn't.
Ramondre. I like Ramondre actually. I think Ramondre is being drafted like right where he should be.
If you're in the state,
I have
you're
him in
late
one league.
Browns, and you're just fishing for receivers at this point. Who?
I like Jalen Polk.
Yeah, I was looking at Polk.
I know. I think his name's Roy. Might know him. What's his name? Frank Amarante. I think something like that. He's a fantasy
Something like
sports
that. Yeah,
fantasy
I think
football
Polk.
follow. He loves Jalen Polk. He thinks Jalen
I think
Polk's
Polk's
like a
the
league
only
winner,
is the only
essentially.
relevant receiver on that team.
Interesting.
I am. You took Chubb. I was going to take Chubb there, Sean. Because usually I feel like Chubb goes way too early, but now he actually
Yeah,
is a
just,
good value.
that's a good
what's
stash.
Damn it.
What's
Yeah.
what's the outlook here with Nick Chubb, because he's out the first 4 games. Jerome Ford's the number 1. Well,
I'm scared
how
of
do
him
you
the first 8 weeks. Yeah, I think this is
how
where
do
he
you-
should go.
Yeah, how do you approach the Nick Chubb situation?
I
Yeah, I
would
think
want
it's-
both,
yeah.
honestly.
Yeah, I think it's like he's obviously, like you said, he's out the first 4 weeks. Going to take at least a couple of weeks to kind of get back into
Mhm.
game shape. So I wouldn't expect him. And I think they're on the bye week 5, so it kind of works out pretty well, like timing wise. But I wouldn't expect him to get decent carries until week 7, week 8 at the earliest.
I gotta get Will. I gotta get Will Shipley in my queue here. My God, dude. I'm telling you. Week 1, anytime touchdown. It's coming. If he sees the field.
I feel like that should be more than plus 1,000.
Yeah, that's what I was seeing the other day. I was like, I feel like I need some better odds here.
Yeah.
I haven't even
I'll-
looked at these odds.
Roy, should I go? Who do you like more, Trey Benson or Blake Corum? As like a
think I
dark
probably
throw
like-
here.
Yeah, I think I probably like Corum more.
I'll go Corum. I don't have an
like Corum
opinion
more.
there. They're neck and
Yeah.
neck for me, kind of like that handcuff tier. I don't have either
Yeah.
running back.
Overrated.
Corum,
Bad pick.
Yeah.
I think he
Horrible
is.
pick.
I think he probably is overrated. It's a great situation if Kyron were to get hurt.
Yeah.
But so is Arizona with Benson. I think Benson. I wasn't that high on Benson out of Florida State.
Man, that's a great sound.
I wasn't. It's a great.
Big.
It gets
I
better
wasn't-
every single time.
Build the plane out of Chiggy Okonkwo.
Excuse me.
No, that's my guy.
Build.
love
I said build the plane out of Chiggy Okonkwo.
Okay, I haven't heard that one.
Build the entire plane out of him. That should be the whole Titans offense. No, I love Okonkwo. I think he's so talented.
Thank you, Mark.
Tyler
Um,
Lockett. What a
Trey Benson.
oldie but a goodie.
So what is his
Mark
deal?
Henry hates Tyler Lockett.
Yeah, I was just gonna say Nick Picone made his first pick that I don't like.
There we go.
It's just like in this tier of receivers, I would want to take like home run swings, and I feel like Tyler Lockett just has like really limited upside. But
He's old.
He's old. Yeah, I think
He's old.
JSN's gonna take his spot officially this year. But I said that last year.
It was my 5th receiver, so not too bad.
No, it's not. It's the 11th round. Yeah. Trey Benson.
I'm wait-
You
I'm
dog,
waiting-
Sean Brace.
I'm waiting for you to just roast like a 14th round pick. Like I feel like that's the crescendo of this
The
of this
people
whole
in this.
stream.
By the
Is
way,
you
and
just
the-
roasting a 14th rounder.
The people in this Greensboro Airport hotel hate me so much. The way I'm like I'm barking in the room. I just realized, and I'm in a hotel. I should probably shut the fuck up. Trey Benson goes at the end of the 11th round.
Trey Benson. Aaron Rod.
Yeah.
Like, what's the fantasy look for Rodgers? Like,
He's my second best quarterback
is
available.
he a
so-
starter? Like,
No.
No.
I think he's a top
No.
end backup. I think he's a top end backup.
You know what? I'll go with
Jerry Judy is the X factor to the Cleveland Browns season, in my opinion.
Mark Henry
I like
loves
that.
some Jerry Judy.
I
No,
had
I-
Speed in my other one, so I wanted to.
I've kind of given up on Judy a little bit. I think he
It's about time. It's about time.
he was really good
damn
2 years. Jerry Judy was really good 2 years ago. Real quick, I need to get these numbers, but I think he really regressed last season, and then he had those issues with Steve Smith that make me kind of question his off the field.
That was weird.
Seems like a weird guy. So, but 2 years ago in 14 games, he had 67 catches, 972 yards, and 6 touchdowns. If he can be that guy, then the Cleveland Browns are going to be better than I think they're going to be. But I'm a little bit worried that the toothpaste is out of the tube with Mr. Judy.
By the way, Steve Smith, not a guy I would want to mess with.
No, I'll take Steve Smith all day long if he fights Jerry Judy.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Are they fighting?
No,
It looks-
they don't like each other.
Yeah.
Oh, that's
In
yeah.
each other's
They
face
should
for sure.
fight. They should,
They had a feud.
they should
Yeah.
beat the hell out of each other. It'd be awesome to watch.
Luke, have you ever seen the Steve Smith rant that he went on about Jerry Judy?
Probably.
It's incredible. It's
in.
incredible. Steve Smith, great on television, by the way. Brace.
Oh
I think,
wait, I do. He was like on the sideline of like, was it like Amazon Prime, like Thursday Night Football?
Yeah. It was
Yeah.
Thursday night. Yeah.
I-
Brace, I think sometimes thinks I'm too critical of announcers, and I will say, Steve Smith, put him on every football broadcast. I'm here for it.
All right, Mark, I got a question for you.
What's up, brother?
This entails betting. Week 1
Okay.
of football.
Week 1.
If I gave you one bet, you
Okay.
could bet 5 units on one
Well-
on one bet
Well, I know what the answer is. Jalen
all
Hurts
of
touchdown.
week 1.
Yeah,
and you
yeah.
can't say props. It has to be a game.
Okay.
What
Well,
would
it
your
would-
bet
it would be-
week 1?
It would definitely be Jalen Hurts anytime touchdown.
That's
But
yeah.
if it's not that, I'm between 3 plays as
I'm
my
liking-
best play
I
right
am-
now.
There are some plays that are kind of standing.
I-
out there.
I would say over 51 Rams Lions. I think the Rams defense has the potential to be the bottom 3 in the NFL. I think people are really underrating the loss of Aaron Donald when talking just about overall the Rams this season and their outlook for the season. And people are still counting them as like a contender. I feel like I think they have a chance to be the worst defense in football potentially.
That's
So
a primetime game, right? Too is that
Sunday night. It's
week
Sunday
1?
night football.
Sunday night.
It's a rematch of the wild
Yeah.
card round. But yeah, give me that over. I think people think that the Lions have fixed all of their defensive concerns with the secondary. I would tell people that everyone that thought that the Lions passing concerns were about the secondary didn't pay attention to the fact that they have one good pass rusher on the team, and they didn't go out to add a second one. So I think that there's still legitimate holes in that defense for the Lions. I think the Rams defense is terrible. Both offenses should be really good. So I would lean towards the over in Rams Lions. Also, the kickoff, it seems, I think the stat was the average starting field position for a drive was 9 yards higher than it was last season. So that could impact overs positively. I think that there's a chance week 1 overs
Yeah, do we
are,
like this
a
new
little bit of
kickoff?
a boon. If it wins me money in week 1 betting overs, I love it.
Okay, fair. Yeah, that's respectable.
But yeah, that would be my favorite. I love the Raiders plus 3.5 against the Chargers, though. I do love me some of that.
Yeah, I was looking at that.
Raiders.
There was
But
one.
I'm a psycho about the Raiders this season, so I already know that. I'm out of pocket with the Raiders. I think they're a potential playoff team.
I was looking at this under in the Bears Titans game too. It's like
I'm
under
s-
43.
I actually like the Bears team total over 23.5 in that game. Their offense was scoring well over that most of the end of the last season, and now I think they have a much better quarterback. And you add Keenan Allen and Roman Dunze. But there's a chance the Titans score so low that the Bears don't have to score a lot,
yeah.
which scares me. But I would lean towards the team total over there for the Bears. The Bears.
How do we feel about this Eagles game? I still don't feel good about at all.
Loss. I think it's a loss.
I think they lose week 1. I do.
Luke, where was that? Where did you see that the announcers weren't going to travel? Was there anything more with that?
I was hearing from some people that they were kind of saying that if almost sort of like if you don't have to go, don't go. Like it seems like it's very like I think they're a little nervous about how it gets over there. Like it seems like it ain't no joke over near. I mean, especially like in this stadium that like they said, obviously just a great move by the league to schedule 2 teams that wear green in a stadium where you're not allowed to wear green.
Will Shipley. Will Shipley. There it is. Luke Arcane.
No!
Nice.
Oh, that was me. Okay, good. I thought you meant someone took him. I wasn't on the screen. All right, we're good. I was like, no, definitely not who I didn't want to take Will Shipley in round 12. But that's okay. Didn't really know I was on the clock. Can't lie.
Yo, true story. When like in the beginning, I heard the jingle go off in my ears, and I was like, okay, I'm on the clock. And it was the first round pick, and then all of a sudden it just disappeared. And it was Picone's pick. I was spooked up because I thought it was me. And I'm like, oh my God, I hit a button. And it took Devontae Adams. But I kept it cool because I knew I had to go again. I was freaked out there for 90 seconds. Like, what the hell just happened? I know the 2 minutes didn't go up.
So we've got Roy here coming up. And at the end of the 12th round, right here, I'm going to pause. And I'm going to shorten the picks.
Thank the Lord.
Yep.
60 seconds.
Why am I
like that Khalil Shakir. I like that Khalil Shakir pick a lot, by the way.
I was really hoping he would fall back. And that's why I didn't want to take Will Shipley.
Oh, and I like the Rico Dowdle pick even more.
Yeah.
That sucks.
Thanks, sir.
Rico.
All right. I think it's about that time I can go around looking at teams here.
I like it.
Let's take a look at Cosby's sleepers. With Joe Castro with the second pick. I probably shouldn't have read the team name. But it is Patrick Mahomes, Joe Mixon, Austin Eckler, Tyreek Hill, DJ Moore, Jake Ferguson, George Pickens, Jets D, 49ers D, Mike Williams, Darnell Mooney, Pat Freiermuth. Yeah, this is the worst team in the league. It's hard when you have a defense pick you have a defense pick for you in the 6th and 7th round.
It's tough.
It's
Hey, I mean, he just took Jake Elliott, though. It's a good pick.
That makes
and
up for it.
not to mention that I hated the turn with DJ Moore and Patrick Mahomes in the 2nd and 3rd round, and then the second running backs Austin Eckler, who I think I could beat in a foot race. So I'm low on that. I'm low on that team. Let's look at Roy Burton here. Reeks and Geeks. Jalen Hurts, Christian McCaffrey, Kenneth Walker, Michael Pittman, Chris Godwin, Trey McBride, Rashee Rice, Deontay Johnson, Zach Moss, Jameson Williams, J.K. Dobbins, Khalil Shakir, Rico Dowdle. I love those last 3 picks, and I love Moss as well. I like this team a lot. Obviously, really strong at QB and tight end. You have Christian McCaffrey, so you feel great about running back, and Kenneth Walker and Zach Moss, really good RB2, RB3. I would be I'm a little bit. I've been emphasizing how important it is to get the top receivers this year. So I guess I'd be a little bit concerned about the receiver room, but Rashee Rice is a really good wide receiver 3. Roy, how do you feel about the team? How do you feel it graded out?
Yeah. I am a little concerned about the wide receivers. I didn't like the receivers that were on the board and on the turn. That's why I went Jalen Hurts. Because usually I wait on quarterbacks. So didn't love the guys falling there. Like if MHJ was still there, probably would have took him in a different direction. But I think with McCaffrey and Jalen Hurts, I think I can bite the bullet and kind of live with those other receivers, and hopefully Shakir, one of those guys, one of those dart throws at the end, kind of turns into something. So
yeah, definitely. I do like how you're going dart throws, kind of Jameson Williams, Khalil Shakir. Those are definitely dart throws. The 3rd pick, okay, it's TKO, Mr. Rogers neighborhood. Kyler Murray is the quarterback. Breece Hall, Isaiah Pacheco, Nico Collins, Calvin Ridley, Mark Andrews, T. Higgins, Devin Singletary, Jaden Reed, Gus Edwards, Hollywood Brown, Jalen Pill, Khalil Herbert. I like this team.
I was not expecting that. Okay.
No, I like it.
I love that team.
I don't love it.
Ooh.
I don't love it, but I like it. I hate the Pacheco pick. I hate the Ridley pick.
Mark, let me know when you make your next pick.
I'm up.
Pressure here.
I didn't look at this at all. I'll just take I'll
Tyler
take Ray.
Justin Herbert, top of the board, right there for you.
I'll take Ray Davis.
All right, am I on the clock?
You are.
Yes, sir.
All right, we brought a guest picker in.
Here we go.
Oh, there you go.
She has absolutely no
State?
idea who's on the roster. We have a minute. Go.
I think she has to announce it like Roger Goodell. With
No, it's
Yeah.
gotta be Penn.
154th pick and all
It's
that.
gotta be Penn State legend Jahan Dotson.
There it is.
I was about to say Miles Sanders, but okay.
Oh, that works.
We
for
don't,
Penn
no,
State.
don't do that. We don't want to do that. You have 30 seconds, no pressure.
I don't know. I don't know who you. I don't know.
She said Miles Sanders.
I heard Miles Sanders.
Yeah, man. You get once you go in.
Said.
Miles Sanders.
Don't let them peer pressure you into Miles Sanders. We have 10
For the
seconds.
good of Joe's team, don't take Miles Sanders.
All right, pick is in.
Wait. Oh. I don't know.
You didn't pick him.
I didn't do anything. I just woke up. I'm sorry.
She's fired. She's fired. She wanted Dalton Schultz and she didn't hit the draft button.
She got him.
You got Dalton Schultz.
You got Dalton Schultz.
We almost ran out of time. The pressure got to her.
Oh man.
Dalton Schultz, welcome to the.
There he is.
You want to make another pick?
Miles Sanders.
No, we're not picking Miles Sanders. We're not picking. No.
I'm leaving. Good night.
You want me to pick Fryermuth?
Yeah.
All right, she said Fryermuth.
There you go.
More tight ends. More.
Yeah, I heard one of the meat. You know, they do call themselves Meathead Radio. I will say that's unserious. It's Devin Hester and I forget the other guy's name, and it's good. I love it. But he had this saying when he was coming down the end of his show. He goes something. What was it? It was the first time I ever heard it. He goes, "We're clamping the weight, putting the clamp on the weight on the bench." So what the fuck did he say? It was something like that. You know, when you put the clamp, it's on weights when you're bench pressing. He's like, "We're gonna put the clamp on the end of the bar on this one on the other side." I was just like, "Wow, yo, I'm on the clock."
I did. We already have a performance review in. The Allie said, just like James Franklin, she folded under pressure.
I didn't even know I was on the clock there. So
Well done.
Come on,
Luke,
Meathead.
Luke
yeah.
Arcaney's team. We've got Lamar Jackson, Travis Etienne, Zamir White, CeeDee Lamb, Drake London, Dalton Kincaid, Brandon Ayuk, Tyjae Spears, Lab McConkey, Ty Chandler, A.D. Mitchell, Will Shipley. This is my favorite team so far. I really like CeeDee Lamb. I have second overall.
Come on.
Travis Etienne, I'm really high on. I think Drake London's upside's obvious. I guess the concern would be RB2 with Zamir there.
That was definitely my biggest concern.
And
But
then
I also think
Tyjae
if Spears runs away with the RB1 thing, if we think Pollard's washed.
Here's what I'll say. I like Roy's team more if Ayuk doesn't play. But I like I think I lean Luke if Ayuk is normal. So Ayuk's kind of the X factor for that team. But if you have Ayuk, I mean that's the best wide receiver 3 I think anyone's going to have in this league. I have Cup, so maybe I disagree. But Jeremy, I'll be quick on Jeremy's. Jeremy's got Dak, Bijan, James Cook, Chris Olave, Tank Dell, Njoku, A-Chain, Amari Cooper, Jordan Addison, Brock Purdy. I like this team. Dak and Purdy at QB. Yeah, it's a good team. Wide receiver, I guess wide receiver's not bad. It's just Chris Olave is not exciting, so I feel like I knock him in my head for that. Chris Olave, Tank Dell, Cooper, and Addison are pretty good though for wide receiver 3, wide receiver 4. Who's Luke's tight end again? I'm trying to decide if. Yeah, I probably lean Luke's team. I probably lean Roy's team. Jeremy would be right in the middle so far for me. I would go Luke, Roy, Jeremy, TKO, Joe. Slash Ooh, I love Slash's team. I
do
love
like
Slash.
the team a lot.
I love
I'm not high
Slash's
on
team.
Diggs, but I do like.
Neither am I. I'm not high on Diggs either. That's the one that
this,
kinda
is, this
breaks
is a very
it.
good team. This is
a really
Yeah,
good team.
He has
Yeah.
3 really good running backs.
And he's got Amon-Ra and
Yeah.
Evan Egger.
Yeah.
Like, this is my favorite team so far. I
Wow.
love Slash's team. I feel like I gave Slash a lot of credit throughout the draft, so that makes sense. I liked a lot of his picks live. Let's move on to the next one. Sean Bernard.
Yes.
We've got Anthony Richardson. Horrible pick. No, I'm joking. I'm joking. I explained how I felt about that one. I wouldn't have made it because I don't have the gumption to make it, but it's the upside is fantastic. Henry and Kamara, the old timers at running back, but I love both of them this year. They're my RB6 and RB10. Jamar and Devontae, like that a lot. Like Keenan Allen a lot. Yeah, I like this team a lot. Let me compare it to this is bad radio. Someone talk about Sean's team besides me.
It sucks. Overrated.
Not at all what I was planning on doing going in either. I did not think I was walking away with Jamar Chase in first round, so I kind of had to rearrange things a little bit, but feel pretty good about where this ended up.
Yeah, I mean, I think if you get the the Henry that we know, I think it's definitely. I'm just still like a little up in the air about how that Baltimore offense is going to run. Like, I mean, it's going to be really good, but like I just don't know. Like, obviously now with a big time running back, I feel like Lamar's never really had a big name running back like that.
Thunder and lightning, baby.
I mean, listen, that's a hell of a duo if it works.
Oh, yeah.
That is a nasty duo. There's the Taysom Hill pick. I knew someone would take him eventually.
Had to do it.
Bernard would be my
You know
second.
he's going to have that
favorite
one week where he has like 3
Yep.
touchdowns. Like,
There's always that one week, and you always predict the week that
The
he
wrong
doesn't
week.
do it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If I wait on tight end, I take Taysom Hill as my starting tight end. So I have that in one league. I like that pick a lot. So far, I'm Slash 1, Bernard 2, Luke 3, Roy 4, Jeremy 5, TKO 6, Joe 7.
Okay.
Dibes. Dibes is going to clock in a little bit lower because I'm concerned about his running backs. He doesn't really have a lot of depth after the top 2, and I'm not as high on Gibbs as a lot of people. Jefferson Metcalf Debo is an awesome 3 receivers, but I don't feel great about Dallas Goedert. I think it's one of the worst starting tight ends in the league. This would slot in behind TK. This would slot in 7th right now.
By the way, the draft has told me I'm not allowed to take any more tight ends.
I'll tell you what,
Oh, there's a 3 tight end limit. Yeah.
Did not mean to take Deshaun Watson.
Ooh.
Got a weird case. Why is he around?
Apologies, boys. Did not mean to take Deshaun Watson.
Well, that's okay. So we are moving on to Joe Tanzi's team here. I'll draft I don't know, Michael Wilson. That's fine. Sounds fine.
Literally just looking at him.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
That's okay. I don't care about any of these guys.
Yeah, I don't really
All-
care about that.
all
I'll
of
give
these
you Michael
guys are
Wilson
gonna-
if you want Michael Wilson.
All of these guys are going to be cut by the time.
Yeah, I
Miles
agree.
Sanders.
We do this thing.
I like DeMarcus Robinson. If Cup or Puka get hurt, DeMarcus Robinson will be
He's an
started.
insurance policy.
Yeah, that's a good one.
I'm
So
not.
that-
I'm not drafting Miles Sanders, Al. I just got to text the other room.
He's
We're
right
not.
up there.
We're not drafting Miles Sanders.
He's in the suggested.
The draft strategy is cool sounding name or Penn Stater. No, we're not. No, we got to draw the line somewhere in life here. I'm already too much pro Penn State this weekend.
Ooh, you're all in on Penn State against West Virginia?
I mean, we'll talk about it tomorrow night, but yes,
That's fair.
it's the James Franklin rule.
Yeah.
Tremendous against average to bad teams, horrible against great teams.
I guess it comes down to what you think West Virginia is, right?
Am I the only one in here that loves watching Penn State lose football games?
I don't really.
I love watching them lose football games.
Luke, I believe you've been banished from our household from ever coming over.
Sorry, I apologize.
It's okay.
I was that way. I was that way in high school until I started going to Penn State games. I'm a Notre Dame fan, but when I was going to Penn State games in college, it made me appreciate it more. It's definitely really cool.
I don't really know. Like, I've never really had a reason. I've never really had like a specific college team that I've always followed. I like Notre Dame now, but it's just like I don't like. I've never had like a specific team, and for some reason, I've just kind of always loved watching Penn State lose.
That's fair.
Sorry, Joe.
I don't take offense to that. You have to deal with the other half, my friend. I just bet on them
Who
because
we got week 1 again? West Virginia.
West Virginia, baby.
Oh, that's an upset down in Morgantown. Come on now. Come on now. Plus 240.
I can't wait for
man.
Thursday. Dion.
Man, I don't think I've had a worse betting weekend than I had week 0. I don't think I had a single one.
I mean, look, you could have bet SMU like me.
I know.
and
Trust me.
every which
I
way.
did follow all of
Yeah.
your bets.
Yeah. Good job, guys.
SMU stinks.
I had to get
Montana
SMU. They played well in the second half. It's just they committed every stupid penalty possible in the first half to keep Nevada like remotely close into that game.
Yeah, I mean, I had Montana State with the points. I had SMU team total spread.
Did you listen to the Montana State podcast that Brace plugged?
Yeah, they loved it.
I did not. I'll give it a
good.
listen though, so I can bet them or fade them week
Brace
1.
is gonna listen to him every week. Brace is all in.
Brace is going to be our FCS inside.
I did subscribe. I did subscribe. Yeah. Shut up. I hit like and subscribe.
Doing like future scouting on Villanova's like second round opponent.
That's it.
That's great. That's great.
Ooh, tomorrow NOLA versus Verlander. That's fun.
Seems like this is more of a baseball note. I know this isn't a baseball stream, but it seems like Jose Alvarado is going to be out for a little bit with this issue with his family. He was placed on like the restricted list earlier, and they said it might be a while.
Yeah. It seemed like McCarthy, when he was talking about in the pregame show, he came over the top on Barkan's question. He's like, well, the first thing I want to say is all they care about is the player and his family and and so that led me to believe that obviously T-Mac, he knows what's going on.
When they asked Rob after the game he just said, I have no idea. So
Gotcha.
like it seems like
they know. Usually in those types of situations, they all know what's going on, and
they know the situation. They just don't know when the guy's going to be ready to come back.
Right. I mean, we can. You want to hear about the Corey Burke saga? We got. Me and Brace did that for the Union during COVID. Got banished to Austria for like a year.
It's weird. Alvarado. So Zalecki just tweeted this out. Alvarado left the ballpark this afternoon following a meeting in the manager's office. What the meeting part of it's the weird.
I mean,
part.
I think that's more of just him going to them and saying what's going on.
Something's happening.
Any meeting that they're like sitting him down at.
Yeah.
Because if it's a serious issue, he's certainly not going to broadcast that to the entire locker room.
Correct, and he's also gonna. If it's something serious, he's gonna get on the first plane he can as fast as he can as well.
Yeah.
And the behind the scenes staff takes care of that immediately.
That's a shame.
I have my my playoff predictions
for football, the NFL.
No, for this fantasy draft.
Did I get? You didn't rank my team. You didn't rank me.
Never ranked.
I was doing it. I was doing it while we were talking about the teams. I can go through for sure right now. I'm on your page. CJ Stroud.
I am absolutely. I hate my team. I hate my team.
Brace, you took too many receivers. You took so many receivers.
It won't let me take any more receivers.
It won't let me take any more tight ends.
Too many.
But I feel like Thielen and Watson and Davis, 2 of those should have been running backs. Because you're so solid. Puka, Waddle, Flowers, and then you came back with 3 more on top of those. I think you need to hit the trade market and try to deal one of these receivers for a running back. Yeah.
Is Keaton Mitchell coming back at any point this year?
Yeah, he should be. I drafted him.
I think he is. I know he's still hurt, but I think he is.
All right, he's not getting drafted then.
I think he's still on the pup.
I wouldn't touch him now. No.
Do we have
The
any
last
feelings
pick of the draft is going to be a kicker.
Matt
go.
Gay. Give me him. Kicking a dome. Pause. Pause.
Cameron the Dicker.
Dome kickers.
But
do we like Bucky Irving?
Yeah, Oregon.
Cool.
Look, hold on. I have to find the clip of Bucky Irving from college. Just the craziest cut on a dime I've ever seen in my life.
I'm just gonna take him because I need somebody.
Brace, you're in the market for running backs.
Oh,
we gonna get a trade on the Stro?
Can I interest you in a gently used Jalen Warren?
And who you eyeing up?
Your first round pick
next year.
Check me out. Hit me up.
Now we're talking.
We'll get it going.
Okay.
Oh man, Embiid just posted his POV and it is shaky and blurry and it's incredible.
Stupid. Love it.
Oh, good draft, boss.
Well, this was fun, man.
Yeah.
Oh, let me read off my prediction of the top 6 teams here.
Who might beat in the championship?
So obviously I'm in it. It's based on my own rankings. I drafted on my own rankings. I'm always going to grade out well on it. So give me myself in there. Give me my favorite team outside of mine for the second straight year. It's Nick Picone. Nick Picone is so solid here. Like, where is the weak spot, Nick Picone? You did a great job here. It's coming out of the 11th hole as well. Josh Allen, best quarterback in the league. Jonathan Taylor, he's my number 3 running back. David Montgomery, really solid starting running back. Devontae Adams, top 7 receiver. Terry McLaurin, solid starter. Travis Kelce, my number 1 tight end. He has my best quarterback, my best tight end, and I still feel good about the running back and receiver positions. So it's naturally he's going to end up with my favorite team here. My third place is Kyle / Nunamaker. Jordan Love. I like where you got Jordan Love. Kyron Williams, Rashad White, Amon-Ra St. Brown, Evan Ingram, who I'm a big fan of, James Conner, who I'm a big fan of, Christian Kirk, who I almost picked. I don't like the Stephon Diggs pick, but I still like him to finish third here. Coming in 4th, I've got Sean Bernard. Locking in here. Anthony Richardson was kind of the guy probably driving down my concern for Sean's team. If that would have been maybe Jordan Love or Kyler Murray, I probably have him a little bit higher, maybe above Slash. But definitely really like that team, especially if Brock Bowers. I've been the last couple of days, I'm starting to feel like we're not talking enough about the potential breakout upside of Brock Bowers.
Absolutely.
I think he could be top 5 tight end this year right away. And it's not something anyone's talking about. I do know he's a little banged up right now. I think he's going to be fine, though. They're saying he's going to play week 1. My 5th slot getting into the playoffs is Roy, the defending, conquering, reigning champion. You've got Christian McCaffrey. You got Jalen Hurts. You got Trey McBride. So it's the rest of the team, even if I'm not as high on certain times and certain guys, really solid core. And then my last spot in, my 6th playoff team, it was between Sean Brace and Luke Arcaney. And I went with Luke Arcaney. I went with Luke.
Very much, Mark.
The concerns with Luke is the RB2. The concerns are the same, I guess, with Luke and Brace's team. It's the depth at running back. But I like Tyjae Spears a little bit more than the RB3 for Brace, which is Trey Benson. But yeah, I like Lamar more than Stroud too, is the other factor. But that's what kept Brace out of the playoffs for me.
Well, the good news for the losers on the outside is that if Florida State taught us anything preseason
Paul.
rankings don't mean shit.
Or specifically, it's specific. Or Tansy, you left out the best part of that. Specifically, my preseason rankings don't mean shit because I like Florida State. I think I had them.
And it could be even worse when Notre Dame loses on Saturday.
Yeah, that was another one of all my bets this weekend was Florida State. That's where I was forgetting.
Oof.
Yeah. No, I mean, hey, Texas A&M
It was
always
like that
lives
dude from
up.
Barstool.
Texas A&M always lives up to the preseason expectations that they're given every single year, right?
I didn't say it.
So does Notre Dame.
Funny.
Notre Dame wins 10 games. Texas A&M wins 7. I think Texas A&M's never won 11 games in a season. I could be wrong.
That actually wouldn't surprise me.
Hang the banner, double digits.
I heard something about that. Well, hey, Luke, Notre Dame's not winning a national title anytime soon, so I've got to take successes when I can get them. But
that's fair.
it's the next
Penn
level. The next
State,
level down.
That's banner worthy.
Huh?
Penn State, that's banner worthy.
Yeah. Well, they could.
Riley Leonard, baby.
By
By the Riley train.
I think. Hey, I think they could legitimately be the 5th or 6th best team in the country. I just don't know how Notre Dame will ever be on the level of Georgia, or whoever it is any given year. But this year it's Georgia, Ohio State, Oregon to me. Like, I don't know how Notre Dame is getting to that level.
Give me a winner on Thursday.
athletically.
And that, friends, is why you should tune into the college football show 8:00 tomorrow night
Let's
here
go.
on the Fox Sports The Gambler socials.
I'm sorry.
Yeah.
You'll find
Thursday.
you'll get winners for Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and Monday from myself, Mark Henry Jr. and Ryan Beef Coyle.
Brace, you
That's-
talking this Thursday?
What Thursday?
Are you talking about this Thursday? Winners for this Thursday?
Yeah, Thursday. College football.
North Carolina.
Jacksonville State.
Marianne Hampton. I'm all in. I think
I
North
like that.
Carolina could sneaky win 9 games this year.
Okay. I
Wouldn't
like North
surprise me.
Carolina. I like that play. Definitely
But if
flipped
you-
around too.
If you tune in tomorrow, though, we'll give you North Carolina. We'll give you Jacksonville State.
Real quick.
We'll give you the entire weekend, Sean.
And I'll
Nice.
tell you why you should bet Ohio 7-1.
What are our thoughts on Arkansas Pine Bluff plus 48.5?
I can confidently say that game will not be covered. All
right. We set it all in 2.5 hours.
State too.
We set it all in 2.5 hours. Mark Henry Jr., fantastic job steering the ship. Everybody, good luck on all of your fantasy plays this year. And thank you for everybody watching out there. Gambler gang, we out.